in knowledge with the class. So, just say Salakia if you're a sister, if you're a brother, same thing, say Salakia. You don't have to just type it in the chat. If you're unable to and you type it in the chat, maybe just raise your hand or something so it'll alert somebody to kind of look inside the chat, and we'll be able to bring your precept out for you, or address your question. So, all praises to the Most High. We're going to continue with the 7 pillars of wisdom, which is what we had left off at. So we're going to go back into the 7 pillars of wisdom. We're actually going to go jump into some videos, because tonight was kind of an impromptu class, although we have the remaining lesson on wisdom. We kind of just going to go through some current events. We're going to go through some videos, and just in the spirit, just go ahead and go through. So anybody that has anything that they want to bring out, go ahead and bring it out. We want everybody to be able, with the last lesson of the year. So if you got any testimonies, if you got any, anything that's going on ending the year or went on throughout the year that you want to bring out and give the Most High glory and honor for, and feel free to do that. We want you to always be encouraged to have a voice here in the house of Israel. So all praises to the Most High Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. We give glory and honor to the Most High, and we ask that He helps us to be able to continue to come together and gather together throughout the year, the upcoming year. Everybody, make sure you get ready for the Passover as well, and we're gonna go ahead and start the lesson. I'm just trying to, on my end, open up the lesson. I don't know why. All right, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to make sure that it's able to come up. Let's see. And I'll need to share the screen in a second. Uh, Forgive me, my phone is acting up. Okay, perfect. So I got the lesson pulled up. Let's go ahead and share the screen. And all praises to the Most High. Make sure you share the lesson. Uh, Go ahead and share the lesson. You also have the opportunity to share. Thanks for everybody that's joining us on YouTube. If you do have any questions or precepts on the YouTube, it's always best that you get into the Zoom, because as we're on the Zoom, we're not monitoring the YouTube. But I think in the future we're gonna start having somebody monitor both the YouTube chat as well as the Zoom chat, so we can get everybody to be able to participate. Because I know we got some people that's joining us on the YouTube. But feel free, everybody that's in the Zoom, share that YouTube link with your family and friends so that they'll be able to log on and be edified as well. And let's jump right into it. I'll get right into some of the videos, since that's where we left off last time. We want to make sure this is a teaching moment and a lesson. So we are utilizing the Fair Use Act when we play any of our videos. We're utilizing the Fair Use Act. This is a teaching moment, and we're going to give our commentary on the videos as well as utilize the videos for teaching and for learning. So this is a Fair Use Act. Everybody, you should be able to see my screen. Let me jump right in here. And this is about a 13-minute video. We're going to go in and bring out some scriptures as well. So everybody, I hope this
cousin,
is actually a
we are not Caribs.
video that was shown
I
on
remember having.
PBS, and it's asking, are the Tainos extinct? Right? So we know who the Tainos are. We know that the Tainos are Israelites. Those are our brothers and sisters from the tribe of Ephraim, the tribe of Manasseh, as well as the Dominican, the tribe of Simeon out on the island of the Dominican Republic, right? They were our brothers and sisters who came across the ocean and made it to the land that was at that time called Azareth, right? So we're going to start off with that scripture. That's in Second Esdras, chapter 13. And you could start, Yazayan, at verse 40. We're going to go from Second Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40 through 46, Baba Kashar. And the reason why this has to do with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is because, we have to be able to teach all of our people. 12,000 will be sealed from all 12 tribes. So we have to be able to teach the so-called Puerto Rican, the so-called Cuban, the so-called Dominican. We have to be able to teach them, as well as the so-called South American, right? Man, woman, and child. We have to be able to teach them that they are Israelites, and there are scriptures that are going to help them to understand that they are Israelites. And there's also tons of evidence to showcase that they're Israelites as well. And we're going to get into some of that stuff as well. So when you got it, we're gonna play a little bit of the video, and then you can bring it out once we stop the clip.
This feeling that if I'm not carried, what could I possibly be? And he said a word that I never heard before. He said, "We are Taino."
Again, we claim in the Fair Use Act. Fair use. This is for teaching, learning, and edification, as well as for our commentary on the video. Fair use.
I'm here at the library at the University of the Virgin Islands. This was one of my first stops 12 years ago when I started my research on the Taino people. The U.S. Virgin Islands is known as America's paradise. But there is such a greater history beneath the surface of the natives that were here long before colonization. After my cousin told me that I was a Taino, that got me even more curious to find out what was this Taino that I'd never heard about.
See, and our people are curious. They want to know. They want to learn. So we have to be able to correlate and to bring together that wisdom and that knowledge and understanding that the Most High has blessed us with through the Spirit and through learning from our elders. We have to be able to bring that together so that we can show them. It's the reason why they took the Apocrypha out, and they didn't want previous generations to read in the Apocrypha. Back in the 50s and the 60s, even the 70s, the Apocrypha wasn't well known in our community. It wasn't until our elders began to go out and to teach the gospel and to teach the truth and to bring the truth out, that the Apocrypha was used for our education and for our to build for our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures. So we were able to see and to be able to put together the sign with the 12 tribes and understand that Ephraim is the Puerto Ricans, right? That's where the tribe of Ephraim dwelt, on this side of the earth. The tribe of Manasseh dwelt in Cuba, right? We also have books from Montezuma where it was stated that the colonizers and the conquistadors, they had met with Montezuma, the king, and he let them know that right over on the islands that are right outside of South America, right on the other side, that the tribe of Manasseh dwelt, right? The tribes of Joseph, the tribes of Reuben dwelt to the north. The tribes of Joseph dwelt in the islands, right? So there's plenty of history that that dictates and that documents that the Israelites were here before Christopher Columbus. And when Christopher Columbus and the conquistadors and then the colonizers had all got into this country, that they found our people on these shores, right? And so bring that out when you got it, King. Second Esdras, chapter 13, start at verse 40, Baba Kashaw.
This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40 through 46. Those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanessar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land, But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land, and they enter into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Azoreth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. Now verse 46.
Yeah, he got cut off for a second. He's gonna log back in.
Okay.
Yeah, Shalaki. Give the brother a second to log back in. This is what happens sometimes. It's called technical difficulties. I can't pick up from where he was because he has a whole lesson plan going on here. So probably his battery died, something like that. So while we wait for the brother to log back in, oh here he goes.
Salakia King, my phone died. I apologize.
It's
That's
all good.
that's that's every time I teach, my phone dies. I apologize, y'all. Salakia, I wasn't even paying attention to how much juice I got so excited about the lesson. So I apologize, everybody. All praise to the Most High. So I'm back. Um, I don't know where we left off. Did Yazian get through the scripture?
Yeah, he just go ahead and just reread it again, Yazian, if you don't mind.
Time.
Want me to read it over?
Yeah.
This is Second Esdras, chapter 13, starting at verse 40 through 46. Those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that
Time.
they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land.
Con. So we're going to come back to that scripture again, right? Because that scripture is explaining that the tribes of Israel that were held captive during the time of Assyria. Oh, my camera's acting up like that. during the time of the Assyrian captivity, those 12 tribes, or excuse me, those 10 tribes made their way over to America so that they could keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. So obviously, there would be artifacts found over here. There would be different parts of our heritage and our culture that would have remained throughout their journey and then throughout their time here until, of course, Christopher Columbus, the conquistadors, Cortez, and the colonizers had come and pretty much started to destroy and hurt our people. Let me see why my camera's doing that. There it goes. Yeah, so we're gonna get right back into the video, bro.
Having this feeling that if I'm not Carib, what could I possibly be? And he said a word that I never heard before. He said, we are Taino.
Right, so our people wanted to leave the multitude of the heathens, right? They wanted to get away from the heathens, right? So it was a set. Now, not every single person that was a part of the 10 tribes, that was a part of the tribe of Manasseh or part of the tribe of Zebulun or Naphtali went ahead and left and came to America. There was a small remnant that remained in the promised land, right? That's where you get the New Testament verse of the land of Zebulun and Naphtali, Galilee of the Gentiles, right? Which we'll bring out a little bit later. So just understand that, right? That's part of the understanding. Not every single person that was a member of the tribes of Israel, which would be the 10 tribes, right? Because the kingdom had split. So that's where you get northern tribe and southern tribe from the kingdom splitting, right? Assyria was the first captivity for Israel. And then after the Assyrian captivity came the Babylonian captivity, in which the southern tribes were put into captivity, right? So under the Assyrian captivity, which we just read, right? The king of Assyria, Salamanzar, right? Salamanzar is who put the king of Israel, which would have been and this was during the time of Hosea, right? That we ended up leaving. So Hosea was the king. Hosea was the king of Israel. Salamanzar was the king of Assyria. And excuse me, Hosea was the prophet, not the king. I apologize. Right?
University of the Virgin Islands. This was one of my first stops 12 years ago when I started my research on the Taino people. The U.S. Virgin Islands is known as America's paradise. But there is such a greater history beneath the surface of the natives that were here long before colonization. After my cousin told me that I was a Taino, that got me even more curious to find out what was this Taino that I'd never heard about. The Taino and Caribs were very distinct indigenous groups in the Caribbean. Geographically, the Taino primarily inhabited the Greater Antilles and were the most in number, while the Caribs inhabited the Lesser Antilles. The Taino are the original inhabitants of these here islands that are now called the Virgin Islands. Growing up, my family always took part in a carnival celebration. My grandmother's sister started a troupe known as the Traditional Indians. From then, I had only ever heard that we were representing the Carib Indians. So I lived 48 years of my life with this belief. Confirming that I was Taino opened up a whole new world. So I started to search online. The first thing that popped up was the United Confederation of Taino People. So I wrote a letter to the president of the United Confederation of Taino People, which was Roberto Mucaro.
I'm Roberto Mucaro Borrero. I'm a cacique of the Guainía Taino tribe of Boriquen, or what we know today as Puerto Rico. Back in about 2011, I received contact. She talked about affiliation with the Taino people, with the community. Up until this point, we've signed the treaty between our peoples, between our communities. We've come together as family. So the significance of this day, why this day is so powerful, this is also October 12th. And this is the day that Columbus is known to having come in to this side of the world to begin a cycle of genocide against our people. So for us, Columbus is...
See, and that goes back to the curses, right? The genocide. We will be enslaved by our enemies, right? And when we are able to help our brothers from the tribe of Ephraim, from the tribe of Manasseh, from the tribe of Simeon, the so-called Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, when we're able to, South Americans, when we're able to help them to link these points in history up, it will showcase to them and help them to understand that their Taino heritage, being from the Taino tribes, actually goes further back to being from the tribes of Israel, like we just read, right? The brother just read it in 2nd Esdras 13 and 40, right? These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea. That's why if you drop that real quick, brother, and get Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. This is why the prophet Hosea, because that's what I'm speaking about when it says Hosea in the Apocrypha, it's talking about Hosea, right? The prophet Hosea in the book of Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8, I actually can put it on the screen for you. I think. Hold on. We're going to get right back into the video. So I get all my lessons. Right? The book of Hosea, here it goes. Put it on the screen for you. The book of Hosea, chapter 7 and verse 8. Right? So during this time, Hosea was prophesying about how Israel, the 10 tribes, would be mixed. Right? Read that for him, King.
This is Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned.
Right. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Ephraim has mixed himself among the nations, and that is the entire 10 tribes, which all went under Ephraim. Ephraim was the ruling tribe, just as in the northern tribes of Israel, just as Judah was the ruling tribe in the southern tribes of Israel. Ephraim was the ruler, right? So during the time of Salmanander the king and Hosea the prophet, Hosea is prophesying and saying Ephraim is mixing himself with the peoples, right? And they are a cake not turned. So that's why you see them in all the different complexions that they come in, right? We don't teach a doctrine of Negro only, right? We understand that our brothers and sisters are going to come in different complexions. That's why it says they're a cake unturned, right? The prophet Hosea was prophesying this. Then also, right? So that's why you'll see them looking different ways, right? Let me see if I can get.
Hey, Shalaki King.
Go ahead, brother.
I was going to ask you for an image of a cake not turned, but when it says Ephraim is a cake not turned, then that the flip side of that is that the Jews or the southern kingdom are a cake that is turned.
Ah,
So that means you would see the so-called Jews, right? Judah, Benjamin, Levi, pretty much having dark skin because we are a cake that's turned.
ah, all praises. And you see the cake cake not turned right down there, kind of burnt up a little bit more brown. And then on the top, you see the different colors of the cake there, which again showcases that Ephraim mixed amongst the nations more than we did. We probably mixed more over here when we ended up coming over here as slaves. We probably mixed a lot more, just due to what was going on during slavery, versus when we were still Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, kind of kept the bloodline as pure as possible. And Jeremiah even talks about that, right? About us having black skin, right? And that the gates thereof languish, right? Is what it says in the book of Lamentations, right? And that our skin is black. Right, so there goes the picture Elder Shemaiah was asking for. So that's it's showing you Ephraim. He hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. So that's why you see that the many different complexions that come as well with Ephraim. They also are trying to showcase that, being that Ephraim mixed among the Assyrians, Ephraim mixed among themselves, right? That they come in all different flavors, all different colors, right? And let's pull that up real quick, just to give you the opposite. Right? I believe that's in Lamentations. It's gonna, right? Oh, excuse me, that's Lamentations and Job, right? So you see both the scriptures came up there, and that's what the elder was talking about, right? In Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 10, our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. So their skin wasn't black because they didn't eat food. Their skin was already black before they didn't eat food. It's just saying that the famine made it even worse, right? Because when you go back to the book of Job, which was written before the book of Lamentations, my skin is black on me and my bones are burned with heat, right? So your bones don't actually turn a different color, right? Job was talking about having black skin and being very tanned, right? Because of being out in the heat. Right, so he was actually physically, his skin was physically dark skin. And then in Lamentations, the prophet Jeremiah is talking about Israel and Israelites having black skin, mainly from the southern tribes, because by the time Jeremiah was prophesying to the southern tribes. That was right before we went into the Babylonian captivity. That was who, and Jeremiah was actually spared from going into captivity. He fled and went into Egypt, right? And was able to hide out in Egypt with no problem because he looked just like the Egyptians. As we know, Moses also looked like the Egyptians. Joseph also looked like the Egyptians, right? So we know that the Israelites had black skin. Con, everybody? Con?
Khan King.
All praises.
Okay.
Right? And then we just showed, let me see if I still got it up. Oh, no, I think I closed it. Right? We just showed Ephraim being a cake not turned, right? So you got the book of Job, you got the book of Lamentations, you got the book of Hosea, which is what you would use to share the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding with our brothers and sisters who lack that wisdom of the truth and understanding of who they actually are, to showcase that all 12 tribes were sent over to the Americas. And the 10 tribes, they mixed amongst the nations. Let me get that also. Hold on, I got that in Genesis, right? When you go to Genesis chapter 48 and 9, you can read that. It'll be on the screen in a second for you. Go ahead and read that for him, Yazayan. Genesis chapter 48 and verse 9. So this is showcasing what the prophet Hosea prophesied about Ephraim mixing amongst the people, right, and being a cake not turned. This was actually prophesied in the beginning of the book, well before we were given the law, right? It was prophesied that this would happen, that this would happen with Ephraim, right? Read that, King.
This is Genesis 48 and verse 9. And Joseph said unto his father, they are my sons, whom Yahweh hath given me in this place. And he said, bring them, I pray thee, unto me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And
God.
Israel said,
So far, this is Israel, right? This is our forefather Jacob, Israel. He has met back up with his long lost son Joseph, and Joseph had two sons, right? Joseph's two sons were named Ephraim and Manasseh, and their grandfather. This is their first time meeting their grandfather. So their grandfather Israel is now going to be giving them a blessing. Read on. We're going to read a little bit more and then jump down to verse 19, which is on the screen. Read on.
and Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, Yahweh hath shewed me also thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth.
God, and this is the same thing that we are going through now. We didn't know that we were Israel. We never thought that we were Israelites. Just the same way our forefather Israel never thought he would see his long lost son again. Who went 10, 15, 20 years ago for most of us. We never knew that we were Israelites. We never knew that we were part of the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? And that's the same way where Joseph was one of Israel's lost sons. He thought he lost his son, let alone that he would ever see his son again. And now the Most High gave him a double portion, a double blessing. That's what the name YAWASAP, the name Joseph means, that the Most High shall add, right? He's going to give you a double portion, a double blessing. So now the Most High gave Israel an opportunity now to be reunited with his favorite son, Joseph, YAWASAP, and then his favorite son's children, which were his grandchildren, something he never thought would happen. So this was a beautiful and a day to rejoice, the same way we're going to rejoice when the Most High brings all the 12 tribes back together. And we look in and we look over and we see our brothers from the tribe of Ephraim, and we like, man, we never knew that we was going to be able to get back together, which all the 12 tribes get back together, because it's just like it says in the scriptures, it's well be above and beyond that which we ever asked for in prayer. The day that the Most High brings us all back together, we're going to be looking at people. We're going to see all the different 12 tribes. Imagine how Israel, Jacob, is going to feel when he sees all his sons get back together. The rejoicing that Abraham is going to do when he sees his great, great, great grandchildren all getting back together. The rejoicing that Isaac is going to do. The rejoicing that all of heaven and all of earth is literally, the whole earth is going to rejoice when the righteous rule, it says. So just imagine that same parallel to what's happening in this story that was left for us to understand when Yahushua comes now, right? Yahushua is going to be in the place of Israel, coming and bringing all the brothers back together, and then blessing all the different 12 tribes, giving us a crown of life, given us a reward for the labor that we've done, that he gave us the strength to do, that he gave us the willpower to do, that he led us in doing when he leads us out to the battlefield, on the highways and the hedges, when he leads us out to go feed his sheep and to go fishing. That's all strength and will that the Most High gives us to do his will, right? Instead of doing our will and just laying back and not wanting to do nothing, and just sit back and watch TV, and not gather together for the feast days and stuff. No, we're doing the Most High's will by doing that. So imagine the day when it comes that all the 12 tribes are going to be getting back together, just like this day for Israel, when Israel was able to have all 12 of his sons, and then now another double portion came in, because now he's even able to see his grandchildren. He didn't even think that that was ever going to happen, right? And that's the same way it tells us, is well above what our mind could even think, or we could even ask for in prayer, when we see the salvation through YAWASAP, and he brings all the 12 tribes back together. Read on, King.
That was a heck of a breakdown right there, brother.
All praises to the Most High, King. All praises.
Verse 13. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel, left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him.
Read on.
And Israel stretched out his right hand, and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn.
Right. So Manasseh is the firstborn. Ephraim is the secondborn son. So everybody just going based on our heritage, based on our history, the firstborn son would get the blessing. But if you notice, even going back to the beginning in Genesis, Cain was the firstborn, Abel was the secondborn. Jacob or Esau was the firstborn, Jacob was the secondborn. A lot of times, the Most High, he has his own way of doing things. He has his own will and his own way of doing things. So the Most High put the spirit onto Israel to say, okay, even though Manasseh is the firstborn, Ephraim is going to be the one to receive the blessing. And because of that, that's where later on down the line, like we read in Second Esdras and like we read in Hosea, it refers to the northern tribes of Israel as Ephraim. Ephraim would cover all the 10 tribes that went into captivity under Assyria under King Salmanasar, right? So when you see the scriptures talking about Ephraim, and you see the prophets talking about Ephraim and so on and so forth, it's referencing all 10 tribes, because Ephraim received the blessing, and that was why he went on to rule when the kingdom split. Read on.
Okay. Put that thing on down. And he blessed Joseph and said, Yahweh, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life, long unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth.
Khan, read on.
Con. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand and removed it from Ephraim's head into Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, No, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people. And
He
he
shall become a people, right? So now Israel is speaking in the spirit, prophesying that Ephraim should become a people, as we just read in Hosea. Uh, Ephraim is a cake unturned. Ephraim has mixed himself among the people and is a cake not turned. So it's saying Ephraim shall become a people, meaning Ephraim is going to become the the ruler over the 10 tribes of Israel. The kings are going to come from Ephraim's line, not necessarily from Manasseh's line. Read on.
Okay, breaking that thing down. Become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
His seed shall become what?
A multitude of nations.
A multitude of nations. So when you look at a map, you're going to see Puerto Rico, you're going to see Cuba, you're going to see Colombia, you're going to see Dominican Republic, you're going to see St. Thomas, you're going to see Mexico, you're going to see Guatemala, you're going to see El Salvador, a multitude of nations. Right? So it was prophesied since the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 19, that Ephraim was going to be the ruling brother. He's going to rule over the 10 tribes of Israel, which were sent into captivity under Assyria, and that Ephraim is going to be greater than his older brother Manasseh, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. So that's where you're able to explain Hosea 7 and 8, Ephraim has mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned, because now Ephraim mixed himself among the nations. That's where it says his seed shall become a multitude of nations. So he mixed his seed within all these other nations. And then when they came over here, as we read, and we're going to read again in 2nd Esdras 13 and 40 through 46, that now Ephraim becoming this multitude of nations here in what is now known as America, but what we call Asaroth, right? Ephraim now is dwelling here in the Americas and have become a multitude of nations. The tribe of Reuben, the tribe of Gad, all of these tribes which became great nations, right? That's why in the tribe of Gad, in the tribe of Reuben, you have so many different tribes, right? From Cherokee to Choctaw to Blackfoot, all of these different ones. And they all had they pretty much all functioned within their own nation, right? You had all the way up to Canada, right? And they all would fall under Ephraim. They all would fall under Ephraim's rulership, Ephraim's line. So that's how we're able to explain it, utilizing these three scriptures: Second Esdras, Second Esdras 13, 40 through 46, Hosea chapter 7 and 8, and Genesis 49. You can start at 13 and come down to verse 19. So just finish that out again. Start at his seed. That can't read that. The last sentence.
Verse 19?
Yep, can't.
I just started at the beginning of 19, because I don't even see what you're talking about.
Can't.
And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed, shall become a multitude of nations.
And his seed shall become a multitude of nations. So let's get back to the video. So this is how we help our brothers and sisters to understand that these Taínos are actually part of the 12 tribes of Israel. They just spread out and became a multitude of different nations.
Not a day. It's a symbol of genocide and oppression. But we standing here are a symbol of the resilience of our people.
They look just like the Guatemalans and all the little South America crew.
God. And that was what they, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, right? That's why their history is totally erased. The history of the Incas, the Aztecs, and the Mayas were totally erased by the conquistadors, which means conquerors, right? And by Christopher Columbus and the colonizers, because they knew that they were when they found our brothers and sisters here, that they had found remnants from the 12 tribes of Israel, right? You even see the garment that this guy got on, the kind of belt that he has going around his neck. It does have a border of blue, and it does have fringes on it, right? Those are actually fringes, although they're shelled fringes. But we are the salt of the earth. My man was spicing it up a little bit. He was getting fresh with it, getting fly with it. You know what I'm saying? But that's actually on his garment. Those are fringes going around that sash that he has going around his neck, or I wouldn't call it a girdle, or around the chest piece that he has going on around his neck. And you see all of them wearing crowns, right? Wearing the feathered crowns. That was something, again, part of the history. Even when they showed a couple of the videos before, or a couple of minutes earlier in the video, you had seen that the garments they were wearing were fringed, just like the tribes of Reuben, the tribes of Gad, the tribes of Ephraim, the tribes of Manasseh, our Taino brothers and sisters. They also were wearing fringe garments as well. So I'm gonna play this for a couple more minutes. If anybody does want to watch this is called "Are the Tainos Extinct?" It's a PBS documentary that was put out by PBS, so you guys can feel free to check it out. And you can find the videos on HOI NC if you ever want to check out any of the videos we played during class.
And how our people still confront the forces of colonialism every day just to be who we are, so that we're not only surviving, but at the end of the day, we're thriving.
Now that I became a member of the United Confederation of Taino People, of course now I wanted to share with everybody, look at me, I'm a Taino. Today they call us tribes, but in actuality we were nations. When Columbus came...
You see what she said? She said they call us tribes, but we were actually nations. What did we just read in the book of Genesis? That Ephraim will become a multitude of nations, right? That's how we able to help correlate this thing and bring this wisdom and knowledge to our brothers and sisters.
1492, there were 5 million Tainos throughout the Caribbean. 27 years later, when he left, there were only 50,000.
So you hear that? That's the mass genocide that they were talking about. That's part of the curses, right? Because we intended, when you read in Second Esdras, we intended to come to the Americas and keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. But we did go away from that. We kept certain of the heritages. We kept certain of the laws. We kept a few of the things that we were required to do, but we didn't keep all the law. We still went away to other gods. We went away to, doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. Mainly probably treating each other wrong, going and fighting with each other internally. And due to that, prophecy had to happen as well, that Ephraim and Judah would be in captivity together. Right? We'll probably go through that scripture a little bit later. So prophecy had to happen as well. So again, we ended up losing our way as we came over here, and due to us losing our way and disobeying the Most High, while we were over here, even though we had the intention, just like when we came out of Egypt, we had the intention to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. After Moses had brought the commandments down to us a second time, we promised and made a covenant with the Most High that we would keep the commandments, and we lost our way. And due to losing our way, we ended up losing the power structure that the Most High surrounds his children with when we keep the commandments. The power structure is the covenant, the word of the Most High, the blessings that the Most High gives to his people, and the spirit that the Most High puts on his people, so that no one can come in and defeat his people, right? And take away from his people what he's given to his people. And that's the covenant that the Most High has made with us, that we would keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, and he would keep us and bless us. But obviously, as we were over here, our people fell short, just as we fell short on the other, on the other side of the world.
I'm going to tell you the story of...
Go ahead.
Yeah, my grandmother was actually Taino. Yeah, she from the original, like they said, the Caribs and the Araks were the so-called Indians living on the island. So yeah, my grandmother came from that. So on my mother's side. So
God, all praises, elder. We have an elder that goes back to his Taino ancestry and heritage, which further teaches him and will help him to be able to always teach another brother and sister from the same heritage line that we are the Israelites, right? Because it goes back to his grandmother knows and taught him that they are of Taino ancestry, and our Taino brothers and sisters are of the 12 tribes of Israel. But you see the mass genocide. The woman said they were over 5 million Tainos in the Caribbean. And by the time the colonizers left, well, they never left, but by the time, all the smoke died down and some of the smoke cleared up, it was only 50,000 Tainos left. That's a mass genocide that Esau committed against the Most High's chosen people. And that is something that we can show them as well throughout the scriptures, that this is prophesied to happen to our people, right? We can take them through Deuteronomy 28 and show them the blessings and the curses. We can take them into Matthew 5 and show them that we are the salt of the earth. That's where they get the style from. We can take them into the prophets and showcase that Ephraim is a cake unturned. We could take them throughout all the scriptures. And again, that's why we weren't given the Apocrypha right away. Because when we finish reading Second Esdras, it's going to show even in Second Esdras that Esdras was prophesying that this knowledge is not going to come out until the end times, until right before Christ comes back to gather his people together, to gather the 12 tribes of Israel together, right? Finish playing.
Two of the Taino queens. I remember the first presentation I went to.
You see, she got the dress
Everyone
that
was
had the
telling their
fringes on.
stories, and I introduced myself. And when I told my story, Myron Jackson said to me, "You were chosen by your ancestors to do this work." So I started to question and find out how I can share this knowledge with our students especially, because if my DNA says that I'm here, then I'm not extinct. Columbus's journals painted a story that all the Taino were dead, and it was adopted as the truth. This is why it has taken so many years to try to undo the myth of our extinction. So how did I get here? Let's go back to the beginning. As far as I know, my great-grandmother, Francisca Almestica, history have a funny way of repeating itself. My great-grandmother, Francisca Almestica, was taken unwillingly to South Island. And here...
Yeah, King.
As she said, that is nothing new under the sun, as the scripture tells you, man.
Khan. Nothing new under the sun, elder.
So she's saying history repeats itself, and that's exactly what the Bible says.
Khan. And those are the things that we can bring out when we at camp, when we are in passing, if you're speaking to somebody, if you go to a powwow, if you go over to the islands and you end up having a conversation with somebody in the islands on vacation. We're gonna try and all make it to Cap's wedding out in Jamaica, so we can talk to them about the Arawaks. We could talk about the land of wood and water. We could talk about them being Tainos, so on and so forth, right? But we have to be able to put it together, and that's a beautiful scripture to be able to add in, right? It's nothing new under the sun in Ecclesiastes, right? And when we add these things into our arsenal, right? And when we utilize these things, these scriptures with wisdom, we're able to help our people remember who they are. Right? It says in the book of Baruch, right? It would be in the land of our captivity. We will remember who we are, right? It says, I believe in might be in Kings or Chronicles, if we bethink ourselves in the land of our captivity, meaning if we remember who we are, Like it says in the book of Baruch, if we remember who we are in the land of our captivity, that was why we had to go into captivity in this land. And we had to go into captivity together. Because what we just read in Esdras is key to the story. Because what we read in second Esdras, right, showcases how we were not in captivity together. The only captivity that we served in together was in Egypt. That's why when the Most High says in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, he will bring us into Egypt again. Part of that breakdown is that we would be in captivity together, the northern and the southern tribes, just like we were when we were in Egypt. Because when we went into the Assyrian captivity, it was only the northern tribes. When we went into Babylonian captivity, it was predominantly the southern tribes, from Babylon all the way until our captivity in Rome, until the temple fell in 70 AD. And then we were fully scattered across the four corners of the earth. Again, as is prophesied in Deuteronomy 28, and I believe verse 48. Right? So when you read in Deuteronomy 28 and 48 and Deuteronomy 28 and 68, you can showcase to our brothers and sisters, this is speaking not only about the black man who came over here in slavery on ships. This is also talking about, when it says being in Egypt again, this is also talking about our northern tribe brothers and sisters being in captivity together with Judah, and our northern tribe brothers and sisters were led away on ships. We did a lesson already on that, where Reuben and Gad were put on ships and sent over to Europe. Right? The Tainos from and our brothers from the islands, the Caribbean, they were put on ships and sent over here to America. There's a movie called, I want to do a lesson on, I haven't got it together, but I don't know if anybody ever heard of a movie called The Book of Negroes, right? If you haven't watched it already, take your time to check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Book of Negroes. Very, very good. It's actually a series, not a movie. Very, very good series, but it shows how a lot of our people were shipped over to the islands and also shipped over to Nova Scotia, right? I don't know if anybody knows about that part of history, where we were uh, people who fought for England during the Revolutionary War. So this is pre-Civil War. This is during slavery. Our people who, mainly from the southern tribes, who fought for the British during the Revolutionary War, they got shipped over to Nova Scotia, and eventually, some of them made it out of Nova Scotia and were sent back to Africa and opened up a free town on the coast of Sierra Leone. Right, so we were put on ships and shipped all over the world, right? And sent into slavery. Because when we went to Nova Scotia, they promised us that we would be free. They promised us land. They promised us jobs. And we went over there and became slaves and indentured servants to the Nova Scotian white man, the Jewish white man, right? So we were put on these ships and sent here so that prophecy could be fulfilled, that Ephraim and Judah would be in slavery together, right? I think I got that. Is it what? I'll just bring it up. But yeah, so right, Jeremiah 50 and 33, right? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. Right? So you got to bring out the book of Jeremiah chapter 50 and 33 to bring it all together, so that we all understand, so that our people will understand. It was a reason why we all had to come to America. right? So you got these FBAs and I don't know, all these different dang acronyms for all these people that, what is it, Fundamental Black Americans or something like that it stands for. And, you got all these people that try and downplay the understanding of why we were brought into slavery from then all the way until till today, is because the children of Israel, which would be the northern tribes, the tribes of Ephraim, all the way down to the tribes of Asher, and the children of Judah, which are going to be Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, we would have to be oppressed together according to the Most High's prophecy. And then it says, all them that took us captives, meaning it was more than the so-called Jewish man from the synagogue of Satan. Christopher Columbus was a Jewish man from the synagogue of Satan, right? You got the Spanish man, Spain. You got the Portuguese. You got the Chinese on this. I remember Elder Macabre had brought that on a lesson. On the Silk Road slave trade. You got the sub-Saharan slave trade with the Arabs. You got the English white man, the Dutch, the what do you call them? The Scottish, right? The Irish. All of them put us into slavery. And they said they held fast and they refused to let us go. So that's what's happening right now. We're still in the captivity and they refuse to let us go. They still want to entrap our Taino brothers and sisters. They want to take Puerto Rico and they want to take Cuba and take the Dominican Republic. They want to take all the resources and ship the people out and deport our people because they refuse to let us go. Donald Trump and Vice President Vance and all of these scoundrels and scumbags that he's got in office with him, they refuse to let us go. They want to keep us down and entrapped and in slavery. Because these are our captives. And our captives, they are still holding fast onto us and refuse to let us go, which is why it's so important for us to wake our people up. Right? So what I say, 2 more minutes, I think. I'll play another minute. We'll go halfway.
Where we are today, willingly going to South Island. When I first stepped foot on South Island, I had mixed feelings. I felt accomplished having returned to the place where my ancestors lived, but my heart was filled with sadness knowing that a 14-year-old girl, my great-grandmother, who was kidnapped like many other young Taino women at the time, was left to fend for herself and later for her 6 daughters. Knowing her stories,
that's part of the curses in Deuteronomy 28 as well, right? That you would have children and you would not be able to raise them, that your children would be taken captive. If somebody just introduced this young lady who found out that she's has Taino heritage, she can go even further back to find out her Israelite heritage.
Now it is for me to tell her story. It is for us to carry on her legacy.
You see the high priest guy got the fringes coming down on his garment.
What's happening here is that we know,
right, so
because of...
We're going to get into another video in 1 second. Well, actually, let's go right into the next video. Turn the camera up like this, right? Let's go into this video here. So this is a video that's going to show you there's been research that has been done that over 8,000 Hebrew Israelite artifacts have been found on the island of Puerto Rico. And this is the professor who is doing the research through with the archaeology that's been found. And through the scriptures, we understand that it just so happens that on the island in which the sign, the 12 tribe sign, say the tribe of Ephraim dwells, Over 8,000 artifacts have been found on that island. You may have seen the video before.
Concreta que tenemos de un sistema de anotación precolombino en Puerto Rico sería un nuevo sistema en las Américas donde no existe nada parecido a esto, y yo creo que abonaría elementos para algo que nosotros llevamos viendo hace tiempo, y es el hecho de que las sociedades indígenas de Puerto Rico y el Caribe tenían un conocimiento mucho más complejo del que nosotros le habíamos atribuido previamente. O sea, el hecho de que ya ellos estuvieran dominando un sistema que estuviera documentando o codificando gráficamente información de manera análoga a como nosotros lo hacemos ahora, pues demuestra que el arribo de la escritura con los españoles aquí no es la primera instancia donde sistemas como ese se estuvieran empleando, sino que ya los indígenas habían desarrollado esto o se había registrado esto en tiempos precolombinos en Puerto Rico mucho antes de que llegaran aquí a invadirnos los españoles.
Right, so it was in Spanish, but the brother was saying long before the invasion with the conquistadors, right? There were tons of artifacts that was being found, right, in Puerto Rico. Here's another short on it right here, right? Supposed to be 8,000 ancient stones with Hebrew writing in Puerto Rico authenticated.
Are you looking
right?
to start
so
your
those items that were found were all authenticated. Let me pause it so you can read it. A remnant of ancient stones, 20 of 800, made its way halfway across the world, solving a 3,500-year-old mystery. What did these stones whisper about the pre-Columbian indigenous people, which would be known as the Taínos of the island of Puerto Rico? After rigorous academic testing, anthropologists, historians, academics, and millions of Puerto Ricans finally have scientific evidence that reveals the language of the stones. What was the language that was written on the stones? Ancient Paleo Hebrew. Right? And that goes back to, read it again, King, bring it out again. 2nd Esdras 13, 40 through 46.
This is the book of 2nd Esdras 13. Well, I go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Genesis 48, my bad. 2nd Esdras 13.
Verse 40.
Verse 40.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea, the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Read on.
Salakia, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Assyria. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now, when they shall begin to come.
Right. Beginning to come back to the remembrance of who we are. Right. There they shall dwell until the latter time. So we're in that latter time right now when they would, and now we are beginning to come to the remembrance of who we are as we were held in captivity together. And as it says in the scriptures, if we bethink ourselves to remember in the land of our captivity who we are, right? And that's what you see happening in these latter times, right? And I'll bring that one up, right? I already had a few of these saved. 1 Kings 8 and 47, right? And I'll put it on the screen. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, and repent and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captive, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, and we have committed wickedness. Right? You also see this again in the book of Baruch. Baruch being the scribe for the prophet Jeremiah, right? And Jeremiah is, as we just read, prophesied that we would be in captivity together, right? And I'll bring that
Right up.
right. So you're going to see it in the book of Baruch written as well. Baruch chapter 2. Oh, it's going to be a bad. That Bible app is going to open up my Bible app. Or maybe it'll. Let's see if it opens up. I think I have the Apocrypha. Yep, Baruch chapter 2. Starting at verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord their God. For I will give them a heart and ears to hear. So what do you think is happening to us? The Most High gave us a heart and gave us ears to hear, that we would remember who we are, that we would remember that we are Israelites, and we're remembering this here in the land of our captivity. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name. That's why we call on the Most High's name, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We remember the Paleo Hebrew. We remember our laws and statutes and commandments that the Most High gave to us to keep as a covenant with him. Right? And we should return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds. So now, instead of having hard hearts and stiff necks and hard heads, and remaining in wickedness and remaining in sin, the Most High blessed us to remember that we are Israelites, and now we will return back to the law, statutes, and commandments through faith in Yahweh Shai, that we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. For they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. And if you read in Second Esdras, as we just read, what were the 10 tribes trying to get away from? They were trying to get away from not keeping the commandments in the land of the captivity. So they wanted to get away from their captors. They wanted to get away from our enemies. They wanted to get away from the slave masters, so that they can keep the commandments. What do we want to do? We want to get away from the slave master. We want to get away from the so-called white man. We want to get away from these people who keep us in captivity, the Moabites, the Ishmaelites, the Edomites. We want to get away from them, right? And put the so-called white man in captivity, and teach him to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and beat his back in when he refuses to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, right? And the Most High is going to punish those people that would refuse. Yahweh Shai said, those that refuse to serve me and worship and bow down before me, bring them before me and slay them before me. Right, roughly paraphrasing. So we're going to kill those people that refuse to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. They're going to fall into the death. They're going to fall by the sword at the feet of Yahweh Shai, because they refuse to confess Yahweh Shai as the only begotten Son, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Right? Esau's gonna refuse that. Esau's gonna want to still keep Christmas. Esau's gonna the synagogue of Satan. They're gonna refuse Yahweh Shai as their savior, or not their savior, but as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords and our savior. The same way that they're doing now. The same way the Catholic Church is doing, the Christian Church is doing, the Synagogue of Satan is doing. Synagogue of Satan don't have no respect for Yahweh Shai. So we're gonna beat them with a rod of iron. We're gonna bring them before Yahweh Shai's feet and slay them. Zephaniah, our brother, is going to get some slaves for his land that he got. And the Most High is going to double up the portion of land that we have. If you're faithful over the little, the Most High is going to add to that and give you much more. Just like he added to Jacob's family. Jacob didn't realize he had more family. He thought he thought he was just going to Egypt to avoid a famine. Next thing you know, he's in Egypt and he got grandkids he ain't never seen before. That the Most High told him to bless, that they would become a multitude of nations. Fulfilling again the prophecy and the promise and the covenant that went back to Abraham. That we would be as numerous as the sand and the stars. That many nations would be blessed. Right? So it's in the land of our captivity that we're going to remember these things. Right? So let's go to where we at now. Got excited. Oh, this is my camp lesson. Salaki, everybody. Let me get back to. So yeah, I had those scriptures already pulled up on a different tab. Right? So let's look at what it says about second Esdras in the synagogue of Satan, the so-called Jewish man's encyclopedia. Right? I got a lot of scriptures pulled up. Here we go. Right? So this is the Jewish encyclopedia. If you haven't seen it, this is something that you can always reference, right? The synagogue of Satan, the so-called Jewish man, Donald Trump, the FBI, the CIA, the European Union and NATO, they know exactly who we are. Right? This is describing Azareth, right? What we now know as America. I'll read it off the screen, Yazian. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to what we just read in 2nd Esdras 13 and verse 45. Columbus identified America with this land. So when Columbus came to, in the Jewish encyclopedia, top level scholarship, top level knowledge, right? That's why it says that the Edomites, their wisdom would exceed, because they have the wisdom to put this in a book that we wouldn't read until the latter times, like it's prophesied there in Second Esdras, like it's prophesied in Jeremiah, like it's prophesied in the book of Baruch, that we will remember, like it's prophesied in the book of Kings, that we will begin to remember who we are in the land of our captivity. So Columbus came and Columbus identified America with the land of Azareth. So it's no secret to anybody, right? Christopher Columbus himself recognized that when he got to this land, when he made it over here, he got lost anyway. He didn't even know what he was doing. So that's how you know it was in the spirit of the Most High, fulfilling his prophecy, fulfilling his word, that Columbus even made it over to this land and was able to find our brothers and sisters from the 12 tribes of Israel, from the so-called 10 lost tribes, right? And that's why we have to give them the good news and give them the gospel. So that's the Jewish encyclopedia. You can bring that up.
King.
Go ahead, King.
And in that movie, Columbus, it referenced that Columbus was reading Esdras to even know about it.
Khan. And you know what's funny is that actor that played Columbus in that movie, he's being brought up on charges for sexual assault. I forget the guy's name, but it was on the news yesterday. That same actor that played Columbus in that movie, where they showcase Columbus outright saying that he is following the maps, or trying to follow the same route that our people took, that the Most High had them. Now remember, when we read Esdras, it was the Most High who led us over here. It said the Most High held back the flood, right? And he led us to what we now know as America. Right, we entered into the narrow passage of the Euphrates River, and then it said the Most High then showed signs for them. So the Most High taught us and showed us how to navigate by the stars. That was where the signs were. Right, we go back to Genesis and understand that the signs are the lights in the sky. So the Most High helped us to navigate from one side of the world all the way over to the next. And that was the same path and route that Columbus tried to take. I can bring up the video real quick. I actually probably have it on here somewhere. Hold on. Right, we can put that in real quick. Columbus finds New World. Oh, no. This guy right there, the 1492 Conquest of Paradise. That guy right there with in the middle of the screen. Again, this is fair use. This isn't the scene where he said he's going to Azeroth. I'll bring up that screen, but this is the name of the movie, Conquest of Paradise. This is Columbus arriving on the shores, right, and being greeted by Taínos. Right, let's find the exact finds the world. Let's spell it. Arsareth. It should bring up the scene. Yeah, we already watched it. I remember we brought that out on them. 1492 Conquest of Paradise, the movie. Fair use.
Why did you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the
map
Canary
that they had ended. They didn't know what was west, but they knew we had went further west, and we had ended up here in what's now known as America. They knew that.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Right? He brought up Esdras. Right? Now this guy's going to say, I'll bring it back a couple seconds, right? He brought up Esdras. He said the calculations of Esdras.
50 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. They are burning people for less. The man you're about to...
Esdras was a Jew. So even in the movie, Christopher Columbus, right? Let me put... Right? I'm not going to play any of the videos because they'd probably be long. But Christopher Columbus was a Jew. Right? You'll find tons. If they have a short, I'll play a short. Right? You got tons of information showcasing that Christopher Columbus was Jewish. Right? So that's why he was bringing up Esdras. Right? Let's see if it comes up. I don't know his name. It didn't come right up. Yeah, this guy right here though, he's been brought up on charges for sexual assault. Just to show you that the wicked white man, oh, that's Kevin Spacey, not that. Well, Kevin Spacey is another wicked one. No, that's Ron Jeremy. They just happen to look alike, right? So anyway, we'll get back into the lesson. But you see that they put it in the movies, they put it in the Jewish Encyclopedia, and of course they put it in the books, right? So they know exactly who we are. They know exactly what's going on. That's why you see even in this video, it says, wake up Israel, man. And that's what our job is to do, to help go and wake up our people, right? Wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? That's what our job is to go out and do, right? So we're going to go through a few more videos and a few more scriptures. Where do we start? So we went through the Taínos. Let's play this one, right? This is a 3-minute video, and we'll end this portion of the lesson and go into another subject. But Hebrew tablets were also found in Houston. This is a couple of years ago, right? So it wasn't just in the islands in Puerto Rico where they found hundreds, if not thousands, of artifacts, right? I remember Captain Ariad did a lesson where they found artifacts here. Chief Joseph of the tribe of Gad had artifacts and different things. We did a lesson on that as well. But there was also stuff found in Houston. So there are tons and tons of archaeological findings and facts that point and show that we are the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's so easy when you're able to get those scriptures and you start with that second Esdras 13, right? And you break it down from there. And then you show them Hosea and you show them Genesis and you show them Kings and you show them Baruch. You got 4 or 5 different witnesses. You got Jeremiah as a witness. You got Baruch as a witness. You got Ezra as a witness. You got the prophet Hosea as a witness, right? You got Jacob as a witness. Israel as a witness. You got all these different witnesses that you're able to showcase and prove through love and through edification that you can help to educate your people and give them the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of who they are, right? Because that's what we here to do, and teach them true faith in YAWASAP.
In the Holy Land, we sat down with him for
hopefully y'all can see it and hear it.
What we did in December of 2019 was to go back and to take his dump pile, Adam Zettel's trash, the stuff that he threw away after they had excavated. We went back through it, and using a new technology called wet sifting, we washed that matrix to get all of the dirt out of it. And we knew that we would be able to see a lot.
This is 2 years ago, right? A Hebrew curse tablet. So that means over here, they knew about the curses. They knew about Deuteronomy 28. They knew about the curses that would come upon us if we didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what we read in Baruch. That's what we read in 2nd Esdras. Our people were wanting and looking to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. So the Most High brought us back together, fulfilled the prophecy and the curses for us not keeping the commandments and going away from the commandments, serving our own selves, serving idols, following after the ways of the heathen, and brought us through his love, actually brought us in captivity, that we would learn and remember who we are together in the latter times, when we're now able to read the book of 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, when we're able to now read and understand. He would give us ears to hear and a heart to understand the prophecies that are written in Jeremiah and Hosea.
Things that they couldn't see, because we had done this on other dump piles from the past, and it was just astounding, the things that archaeologists had missed in the past. And one of the things that Adam Zettel had missed was a small folded lead tablet of a type that we call a defixio, or a curse tablet. You can see where it's folded here, And on the outside, with the naked eye, I could see glyptic markings like this. That's obviously man-made, and it was clear that it was lead once we washed it. Now, this was, of course, terribly exciting because we knew we were on the mountain of the curse, and now we find this curse tablet there, and it was folded, and we couldn't see on the outside any glyptic markings. And through thousands of tomographic scans, we were able to see on the inside of the tablet. We began to be able to see our first Hebrew letters, but they weren't any Hebrew letters. They were the oldest form of the Hebrew alphabet that predated Paleo-Hebrew. We had the word curse repeatedly, and we even had the name of God. The name Yahweh appears twice inside the tablet, and this is just revolutionary. Only one group of people in the ancient world worships Yahweh, and that's the Israelites. And so this is why this is so significant. You can't argue that this is a Canaanite script. So this is hundreds.
So he said only one people in the world worship Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. That's the Israelites. These people know who we are. You see the small hat right there doing the research? You see the small hat excavating the archaeological site? And then you got this other crazy bald head right here. Right? And that's why we got to wake up our Taino brothers and sisters. We got to wake up our South American brothers and sisters. That's why Trump is rushing them back to their so-called country. Right? Because their land is Israel. Our land is Israel. Right? But so Trump is rushing them back to South America, deporting them as fast as he possibly can, trying to go back into laws that were written while we were in captivity so that he can deport them. Why? Because they don't want them hearing this message. They don't want them hearing the truth and learning who they are and why they were put into captivity under the conquistadors and why we are their brothers and their sisters. Because the Most High is giving them an ear to hear. The Most High is giving them a heart. He's removing that hard heart and that stiff neck. And we have tons and tons and hundreds and thousands of Northern Tribe brothers and sisters waking up. From Puerto Rico to Colombia down to Uruguay and Brazil. All praises to the Most High. Guyana, Guatemala, El Salvador, Venezuela. All these countries, Mexico, all these countries that they trying to pit us against right now, try to pit the so-called Black American man against the Hispanic man, using that same old trick, divide and conquer. But now that the truth is out, in the latter times, now that the Most High is spreading like wildfire his truth, right? And baptizing us with fire, the word of his truth, giving us the mind and the words to say, and the history and archaeology to back it up, to showcase that his prophecy, his word is tried and true and will last for all time. You can't change it. You can't rearrange it. It's what the Most High said, and it will be done. And now it's bringing everything together.
Of years older than any example that we have, older than the Dead Sea Scrolls by more than 1,000 years. So what it says is,
man says these things that he's finding could be older than the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Cursed by the God Yahweh. And here's the covenant name of God. And here you can actually see the name Yahweh. So this is the oldest by far reference to the name of God, the God of the Bible. This is his name, Yod He Vav, 3 letters. Sometimes in the Bible it's 4, sometimes it's...
And we know his name is Yahweh, right? This man is saying that this writing is going and predating even Paleo-Hebrew, which would make sense according to Second Esdras, because in Second Esdras we would have been speaking the pure Hebrew, not the Paleo-Hebrew.
2, here we have it as 3. So this is what that proto-alphabetic script looks like. You're talking about much, much earlier than critics have said the Bible was written. So if you're excited about the Dead Sea Scrolls, then you should do somersaults about this.
Fascinating find, but I wouldn't.
Right. All praise to the Most High for bringing out these ancient artifacts. Right. Now we'll jump into something a little bit different. I don't want it to get kicked off YouTube, so I won't go into that. That's a pretty cool video right here.
I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades completely for free. I live stream on
Twitter. The history of, this is the History channel, I believe. So I don't want to, like I said, play the whole video, but it gives a little bit of the history on Jerusalem.
Without doubt, the most revered holy city in the world. With a history stretching back almost 5,000 years, it has been at the epicenter of three of the world's major religions, with Jews, Christians and Muslims each laying claim to the holy city. This has, perhaps unsurprisingly, resulted in Jerusalem being one of the most disputed and fought over places anywhere in the world. The city has been the prized possession of empires, kingdoms and religious movements over the centuries, leading it to changing hands no fewer than 40 times. The repercussions which have been generated from these long-standing grievances continue to leave their mark on Jerusalem well into the 21st century. But how did this city, which began...
It's interesting, what he's saying about how coveted our land is, right? Nations, kingdoms, empires have been fighting to gain control over our land for a long time because they know that's where the true God lives.
God.
Right? So we don't even know how special we are. People still, even to today, fighting over our land. That's amazing, man.
God.
Right? That's not the Palestine's land. That's not the Ish people's land. That's our land.
God.
Right? And they're killing Palestinians over it right now, even to today.
God. All praises. That brings us to Micah chapter 2 and verse 2. Bring it out when you got it, King. And the elder is right. Our land is sought after. Our land is coveted by the Edomites, by the Ishmaelites, right? They've been fighting and trying to take our land from us. And the Edomites have wanted the blessing ever since Jacob received the blessing from the Most High, right? And Jacob took the blessing because Esau was such a fornicator. He gave up the blessing for a morsel of meat, right? As it says in the book of Hebrews. Esau was going off and wanted that red meat and that so bad that he gave up the blessing. Didn't even think nothing of the blessing. Total disrespect to the Most High. Right. And then tries to flip the story and say that we stole the blessing from him. We never stole anything from him. It was an even exchange. You wanted the meat, pause, and we gave you what you asked for. And then the blessing was then put onto us. Right. And even Rebecca understood the prophecy and which is why she sent Jacob in to get the blessing from Isaac. Right. And the Most High blessed us. And then we wrestled with the Most High, and the Most High gave us a blessing and renamed us Israel, a prince that has power with God and man. Right. And then the Most High blessed us and made a covenant with Abraham, Isaac. And so the covenant for the land went back before Israel was even born. It went back to Jacob's grandfather, Abraham, that we would be promised and given that land. And then it took years. So we got to always look at that. It took years for the Israelites to become a nation and to go in and take the land. Right? It took after Moses. Moses ended up passing away. Right? And passed the mantle on to Joshua from the mighty tribe of Ephraim, as we're talking about. And Joshua went in from the mighty tribe of Ephraim, the son of Nun, and went in and began to take the land. And took the promised land from the Canaanites, who, going way back to the time of Nimrod, had begun to conquer the earth. And moved in and infringed on the territory that was given to Shem. That's where the Most High didn't just go take the land, and be tyrants. No, that was actually land that belonged to Shem, and the Hamites, because under Nimrod, the Hamites had pretty much conquered the whole known world. The Hamites went in and moved into the land that was promised to Shem. That's where the whole thing starts up. And they tried to build the Tower of Babel. And then the Most High said, okay, I'm going to give that land back to who I originally gave it to. But you guys are going to have to go in and take it, because these nations have become mighty and strong. They're heathens. They're worshiping false gods. They're worshiping idols. They're doing all kind of wicked practices, having sex, going back to Ham again, just like Nimrod, having sex with his mother to have his son, which is where you get Christmas from. What do you think the rest of those Hamite nations was in there doing? The Jebusites and the Girgashites and all of these wicked Hamites that were in there in our land that the Most High had given to us through Shem, and then passed on to Abraham, and passed on to Isaac, and passed on to Jacob, and then passed on to Jacob's 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Israel. And then built us up into being a strong and a mighty nation, because we were the least of all. Most High didn't choose us because we was the biggest and the baddest. Chose us because he loved us from before the foundations of the earth, and made it so that we were the least of all, just like Shem. When Shem was given the land, he was the least and had the smallest amount of people in portion. So you put it all together. So bring that out when you got it, King. Micah chapter 2 and verse 2. That's a beautiful point that you brought out, Elder. Bring it out when you got it, King Barbecue Shaw.
This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
Even a man and his heritage. They covet our heritage. They want the house of Israel. They want the temple that the Most High put on David's heart to build, and that King Solomon built after he was passed on the plans from his father, King David. They covet our heritage. They covet our blessing from the Most High. They covet the fields. They want the covenant for themselves. So that's why they say, oh, everybody could be saved. Oh, everybody could be a part of the kingdom of heaven and rule in the kingdom of heaven. Anybody can. Any nation can. And then this goes to Esau's mindset now. Esau's mindset, they covet fields. They going into Palestine. They going into all these different, even Russia's going into Ukraine. And they covet these places and take them by violence and take them by force. It's the same game that Esau is playing. His blessing was the sword, and he's a hunter. He's going out, he's hunting, and he's taking your land. The same thing they did in Africa with apartheid. They went and they took all the land away. It's very, very seldom can you find a place in Africa that isn't ruled over by Europe or Germany or not really America in most cases, but mostly nations in the European Union have rulership and are taking the resources away. You might see a puppet king or a puppet president in place, a puppet government, but they're all answering to the Europeans. They're all answering to Australia, and all these other Edomite nations that have rulership, France, and so on and so forth, that have rulership over the nations in Africa. Recently, we talked about what was it, Nigeria and France fighting with each other, right? And then you have other nations that one of the new presidents in Africa, I believe his name is Ibrahim. He denied a meeting at the White House with President Trump because he knows all the so-called American white man, the Edomite, is going to do is try and come and take his land by violence and by force. Right. And so they've been bucking against the system lately, especially because they joined, South Africa at least joined up with BRICS. right? And if you, I don't know if anybody knows, but South Africa actually has nuclear weapons, right? So they covet these fields and they take them by violence, right? So we're gonna watch probably maybe another minute of this video, but it's a 25-minute video. Um, and it just goes through the history of Jerusalem. Of course, you're going to see the whitewashed images as it speaks about in the book of Maccabees, and as it speaks about in Job, how they cover the faces of the judges thereof. So you know, and they sought to paint their images as it says in the book of Maccabees. So you'll see some of those images, but through the Spirit, you'll understand, as the elder brought out, that they're coveting what the Most High gave to us, the blessing and the covenant the Most High gave to Israel and gave to
as little
Jacob's
more than a
sons.
settlement around a water spring, become one of the most religiously and politically contentious places on earth. This is how Jerusalem became the world's holiest city. You can now watch, as well as listen to all of our videos over on Spotify. Follow the link below to when the foundations of the settlement were first established near Gihon Spring. This major water source enabled Jerusalem's earliest inhabitants to transform what was otherwise a barren and arid landscape into what would one day become one of the most important cities in the world. By around 2000 BC, Jerusalem lay just beyond the borders of the Middle Egyptian kingdom. It was around this time that the first known written mention of the city, Jerusalemum, was recorded in their documents. The city itself was occupied by a people known as the Canaanites, who had built a large stone wall around the settlement to protect its valuable water source. By 1500 BC, the city had come under the rule of the Egyptian New Kingdom as a vassal state, forming part of their territory, which stretched from the Sahara all the way to the borders of what is now Turkey. The power of the Egyptians began to decline by the 12th century BC, during a period of history known as the Late Bronze Age collapse. This era saw many of the empires and civilizations across the Eastern Mediterranean fall into rapid and often violent decline. In their wake arose many smaller independent kingdoms across the region, one of which was the Israelites, a faction of the Canaanites who, according to biblical tradition, were led by King David and came to occupy Jerusalem by 1000 BC, making it the capital of their new Kingdom of Israel. During the reign of David's successor, King Solomon, a grand temple, later known as the Temple of Solomon, was constructed within the city, cementing its status as a major cultural and religious site for what would evolve into the Judaic religion. Within a century, however, the Kingdom of Israel had split in two, with the northern half remaining under its rule, whilst the southern half became the Kingdom of Judah, with Jerusalem.
Right, so that's the part I wanted to stop at, because that's what we were talking about. It's a good video, though. You could definitely go through it with your Bible and get some good information on the history of the land, the promised land that the Most High gave to his chosen people Israel, that the Most High promises to give us again through YAWASAP and through the rulership of YAWASAP over the kingdom of heaven, that he's going to give us the opportunity, all praise to the Most High, and us the privilege to be able to rule alongside him as co-heirs under Yahweh and under YAWASAP. So that's the northern kingdom of Israel. That would be where Ephraim was in rule at, and the kingdom of Judah. All right, so we're going to jump out of that video real quick, and then where are we?
Lucky King.
Go ahead, King.
Could we bring out 2nd Ezra 5:24?
Khan, bring it up. 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse 24. When you got it, Baba Kishar. That's 2nd Ezra verse 5 and verse 24.
The book of 2nd Ezra 5 and 24. And of all lands of the whole world thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily.
And that pit is Jerusalem or Zion, right? So out of all the lands of the earth, God chose Jerusalem. And all of these nations know that. So if saying God's like, yo, I love Jamaica, where people gonna flock to? Everybody gonna want to be in Jamaica. God says he loved Jerusalem. So everybody is coveting Jerusalem hard. Right? Read Second Chronicles 6:6 real quick.
Elder. Bring it out when you got it, King.
This is Second Chronicles, chapter 6. And you say verse 6, right?
Done.
Come, but I have chosen Jerusalem that my name might be there, and have chosen David to be over my people Israel.
Right? So God chose Jerusalem so his name would be there. And all of these nations, we are envied. We are envied so much that we are hated because God loves us. Right? The same way Joseph's brothers hated him. It's the same way all of these other nations hated us. And why did Joseph's brothers hate him? Because Joseph's father loved him the most. The envy, the jealousy is like, how dare he, be loved more than me? This is the reason, man. This is heavy, bro.
And Esau had that same mentality, which is why he sought to kill his brother, because it says Isaac loved Esau and Rebekah loved Jacob, but what Esau ended up realizing was that the Most High loved Jacob. And that's why the Most High blessed Jacob. It even says in the book of Romans, before either of them had done any good or evil, the Most High had already made his choice in who he was going to love. That's why it says was that Romans 9? Esau have I hated, Jacob have I loved. So Esau eventually realized this. When it came to the blessing, yeah, he was upset about the blessing, but he was like, hold on, the Most High don't love me. So that hatred that the Most High had for Esau had hatred for his brother Jacob and even sought to kill his brother Jacob. As soon as Isaac was going to die, Esau had a plan already concocted in his brain of how to murder his brother. Because he knew the Most High loved Jacob. Says that in the scriptures. The Most High loved Jacob and the Most High hated Esau. Right? So beautiful scriptures, Elder. Keep going. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Nah, yeah. You that's it right there, man. God loves us. And the scripture tells you also that God didn't just choose Jerusalem because of us, right? He said he chose. Let's just read it. I don't want to butcher the scripture. Second Maccabees 5:19.
This is Second Maccabees 5:19. Nevertheless, Yahweh did not choose the people for the place's sake, but the place for the people's sake.
God sanctified Jerusalem because of his people, not the other way around. And it shows his love for both the people and the place. Thank you, King.
And a lot of people don't know, or I would say not a lot of people don't know, but it's something that people may overlook. Jerusalem is where Melchizedek dwelt. When it says Melchizedek was the king of Salem, he was in Jerusalem. right? So if we get that, just to showcase, Melchizedek actually lived in Jerusalem. So when Abraham went and met with Melchizedek, they were most likely meeting in Jerusalem. All right. Let's see what the AI is telling us. You could get that, bring that out in Genesis chapter 14 and 18. Melchizedek, see, it says here, Melchizedek is presented as a king of Salem, which is later identified as Jerusalem and the priest of the Most High God. So when it goes back to Abraham and that being the promised land, promised unto Abraham, that goes all the way back to Melchizedek, who was the king of Salem, right? And it's later on identified as Jerusalem, right? The passage in Genesis 14 and 18, it says, describes Melchizedek bringing out bread and wine to bless Abraham after Abraham's victory in battle. In Hebrews 7 and 10, the passage in the book of Hebrews discusses Melchizedek's priesthood and its significance, particularly in relation to the priesthood of Aaron and the coming of YAWASAP. Right? So even going back to Melchizedek, who we understand through the Spirit was YAWASAP, right? That's why he had no beginning and no end here on earth, because it was YAWASAP's Spirit that was here in Melchizedek, that the Most High placed in Melchizedek, right? And he was ruling from Jerusalem. And that's why it goes into then there's a verse that says the scepter shall not depart from Judah's hand. That's part of the blessing that Judah has. King David, King Solomon, and that line then leads to King YAWASAP. And he's going to rule from Jerusalem. So it's going to be just as it was in the beginning in Genesis when Melchizedek was the king of Salem, and YAWASAP is now going to come back, and his throne. It says Jerusalem in what is that, Revelation, maybe Revelation 21, where it says the New Jerusalem is going to be coming down from heaven. That's talking about that the kingdom of heaven, as we say in the Most High's in the Lord's Prayer, when we say the Most High's will be done, and we pray to the Most High that His kingdom comes on earth as it is in heaven. We talking about bringing back the rulership to Jerusalem, to Salem, as it was with Melchizedek when he blessed Abraham. Now the Most High blesses YAWASAP and gives him rulership, all power and all dominion over all things in heaven and in earth. He's only submissive to Yahweh.
Hey, Shalaki King.
Go ahead.
I went to Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the strength, and when I went there, I didn't know nothing about being an Israelite or nothing like that, bro. But there was something different about being there.
Mm.
It was like my whole body was in sync with the place. It was just like I cannot explain it. There was something different about being there. And I wasn't like, oh, I'm an Israelite now. Here I'm in my land. I didn't know nothing about that. I was still asleep, but I knew there was something different about being there. Sleeping there, in the hotel and waking up in the morning. It was just different. I can't explain it, but I'm telling you, it was different.
God.
I've traveled to many different places,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there was something different about there in Israel. So I yield there, King.
God, and part of the explanation is that your spirit had been there before, right? Going all the way back to the spirit that's being regenerated, like you brought it out earlier, is nothing new under the sun. That's one of the scriptures used to break down regeneration. So your spirit knew where it was. Your spirit had been there way back in the days, before we have been scattered across scattered across the four corners of the earth, and before you made it to the islands, and your spirit understood, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where eventually, Most High willing, we are of the elect, and the Most High is going to choose us to rule alongside of Him, and you're going to be brought right back there and have rulership over the heathens. Your spirit was picking up on that
God. And
vibe.
that difference was a good difference, right? Being there, it felt natural. It felt good. So, yeah, all praises. I yield.
All praises to the Most High. All praises. All right, so we're gonna jump out this video. All praises to the Most High. It's 11:02, so I like to try and finish by 11:30. We started tonight's lesson at about 9 o'clock, so 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna jump into some of. Last week we left off with the robots, right? The police dog. Looks like we watched those. But the police dog helping out in LA, the AI robots, and so today I'm gonna go into what North Korea is doing real quick. These are the kings of the East rising up and getting ready to make war with the beast.
For research or for homework. That's what most people do. But Kim Jong-un is not most people. He is the leader of North Korea, and he is installing AI into kamikaze drones. These are drones that find a target and explode. They're highly lethal. Equipping these weapons with AI is taking it to the next level. It's like giving the drone its very own brain. It can think, calculate, and act without human intervention. Imagine a weapon that does not need any human input. And Kim Jong-un wants thousands of these. So what exactly is he preparing?
You see how scared that lady looks? This newscaster looks scared, like, because she's on that side of the earth. So she's like, yo,
that's a scary thing, King.
The man is making AI powered, the machine can operate itself. He's making Terminator drones, AI powered suicide drones. Don't need no human operation at all. So we went last week from watching the robots being controlled by AI that all the governments are making, from America all the way to China. Now you see why these chips, these AI smart devices, and these AI smart chips are being sought after. Why the land in Ukraine, which is where they find the minerals to build these chips, the government contract for these chips are so sought after. Why? Because that's the next wave of war, right? This man wants to hide in his bunker, hide in his underground mountain while he sends off AI drones to bomb America. And whoever else he got beef with. We know Kim Jong-un got beef with America, though. Right?
Hey, Shalaki King.
Go ahead.
You remember there was a commercial where this guy was doing a seminar, and he was showing the miniature drones that had bombs attached to it, that had face recognition on it. I don't know if you remember that, like, commercial.
Khan, I think it was a Super Bowl commercial.
I don't know. It was just like, it wasn't really a commercial. It was like a guy standing on a stage doing like a seminar, showing that, listen, we got these small drones that has bombs on it, and it has face recognition, and they can fly through small holes. And once they find their target, they're going to just like crash right into the back of that person's head or whatever. And the Semtech explosion on it pretty much blows your head off. So that was like showing, hey, this is really what's coming. And now you're bringing this out to show that this is real now. Wow. So they could literally like set up, a whole bunch of. They even kind of showed that thing in that movie where they had drones coming out the back of a truck going to attack the president's trying to kill a president. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was it was a recent movie, right? The president was like on a boat fishing or whatever, and some guys were like really far away, and they opened the back of their van, and like 1,000 drones came out and attacked the president's guards and everything. So this technology, we see it in the movies, we see it in these little, commercials type things. This is the real technology, and these drones could be as small as a bumblebee. They don't have to be big, right? They got drones that looks like pigeons and birds and stuff like that.
God.
So yeah, this is heavy, man. Are you?
No, Khan, all praises to the Most High, LD. That is exactly why we need to wake as many of our people up as possible, because these bombs are on the order. She said Kim Jong-un is ordering hundreds and thousands of them. Got this newscaster lady looking shook. Got Trump running wild right now. Trump don't know which way to go. His team is leaking evidence or leaking out the war plans against Yemen. And so, remember when Biden was president, we did a lesson on it. We did the prepare for war, right? Remember when Biden was president, they said that Kim Jong-un teamed up with Russia. You haven't heard nothing about that now. What you think? He just sent his troops home? Like, all right, we going home. Everything, we don't got no more beef. No, Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin is standing together. Don't be fooled by this so-called peace treaty that they saying is coming out. No, because when they say peace, peace is really war, like it says in the book of Thessalonians. Bring this out real quick, King. The book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 10. Because this is what Kim Jong-un, this is what North Korea, this is what Vladimir Putin and Russia, this is what Yemen and the Houthis are doing. They are beating it. This is what along the Gaza Strip, in our land, in Jerusalem, with the Palestinians and Hamas and in Lebanon and Hezbollah. This is what they're doing. They're beating their plowshares into swords, and they're turning their pruning hooks into spears. Those swords and spears are the weapons that they're using in this modern day war. AI powered drones. Read on, King.
Joel, chapter 3, verse 10. And beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
God, bring out in Matthew 24 and verse 7. It's on the screen. If y'all should still be able to share the screen, but if you want, I could put it on the screen for you because I had all the scriptures pulled up.
This is Matthew 24 and 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. Kim Jong-un, North Korea was once seen as a weak nation. They weren't a threat to anybody. Now, all of a sudden, they joined one of the top two world powers. America, Russia, those are the top two world powers. Then you got Europe. Or then you got China. Then you got Europe, actually, right? And then probably top 5 would be India or Saudi Arabia, one of those two. But you got North Korea, a nation that at one point was looked at as weak. Even Russia was one point looked at as weak during the 50s and during the 60s, right after the Second World War. Russia was looked at as a weak nation, right? They were at that point the Soviet Union. So now you got the weak people saying that they're strong. You even got Ukraine and Zelensky arguing in the White House with Trump. Why? Because the weak is now saying that they're strong. Zelensky is getting weapons from the European Union. He's getting weapons from the American private arms manufacturers and private arms dealers. Why? Because we're in the time right now where nation is rising up against nation. All the way from World War II to Second World until now, we got nation rising up against nation. Let me finish playing the video and then we'll go into some more. These will be the last 2 or 3 videos.
There's a new sheriff in town, and it's none other than North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Taking inspiration from the Hollywood thriller Top Gun, Kim Jong-un was seen wearing a leather jacket as he inspected his country's new weapons. Surrounded by his generals, the North Korean leader was seen standing next to a massive reconnaissance drone, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Kim then inspected several other smaller drones. These were test-fired in his presence.
They put the blur over it because they don't want you to see that, like Elder Shemaiah was saying, these things are small. That big giant plane that they was just showing you, that's not what they would do. That's a reconnaissance plane. These little things, these weapons and missiles that they are coming up with, they're small. They like those drones that was flying over Jersey. And the people, they don't want the people to know that they can fly this drone and blow up a whole military base. They can fly this drone and blow up a whole troop. Let the weak say that I'm strong. Nation shall rise against nation. Right? So we go from having the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the past to now bringing it to the future and understanding why North Korea and Kim Jong-un is developing AI suicide drones. Why Yemen is developing hypersonic missiles. Why Iran wants to develop a nuclear weapon.
The attack drones were seen hitting their targets. Then Kim Jong-un made some big announcements. He said that all new drones will be powered by artificial intelligence and that thousands of AI-powered kamikaze drones would be made. We all know that the use of AI has become rampant, from children using it for school projects to grandmas using it to learn new recipes. AI has made its place in almost all sections of society, even the military. The US, Russia and China are already using this technology for their weapon systems, and Kim Jong-un doesn't want to be left behind. So what exactly are these AI-powered suicide drones, and how are they different from normal ones? Largely, all suicide drones are controlled by humans. Operators launch the drone and then guide them to their target using cameras or lasers. But that will change with AI. It's like giving the attack drone its very own brain. After it's launched, it can gather data on its own, recalculate its flight path, and act without any human intervention. It's the ultimate fire-and-forget weapon. This means it won't be vulnerable to electronic jamming because there's no electrical feed guiding it, and this will give them a much higher success rate. So AI is going to make suicide drones.
This is what they're not telling you Donald Trump is scared of. Remember during the first presidency, Donald Trump called him the what was it, like the button man or something like that, the little button man or something. He's like, Kim Jong-un got a little button. I got the rocket man is what he called him. He's like, listen, he got these little missiles, these little rockets. I got a bigger button, right? That's what I know a lot of Israelites, some of our brothers, they say push the button. That's where that phrase is coming from, because the president can push a button and nuclear war is going to start, right? President Putin could push a button and nuclear war is going to start. Kim Jong-un was tired of President Trump making fun of him, so he joined the war under President Putin, right? During the presidency of President Biden. And again, you ain't hearing nothing about him. This is one of the first things that I've seen come up about North Korea and Kim Jong-un until since they've joined the war in Russia. And until now, they kind of been silent. They was fighting with the Russians. They was helping Russia. Russia's winning that war over there. Why you think if the Ukrainian president was winning, like under Biden, they kept saying, "Oh, Ukraine is doing great. Russia's losing all these troops." If that was so-called happening, he would have never came over here and argued with President Trump on national TV to the point where President Trump kind of shoved him. If you watch that video, President Trump shoved President Zelensky, kicked him out the White House. Say, "Get out my house, man. You can't disrespect me in my own house." And now they talking about, "Oh, we got a ceasefire." You know, President Trump said that he would end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of being elected president. It's been over 3 months. Because the Most High is not playing. Nation shall rise against nation. The weak is saying that they're strong. These so-called weak nations is beating their plowshares and pruning hooks into swords and spears. And this is a pretty big spear that this man got right here made up.
Extremely lethal, which is why Kim Jong-un wants them. But that's not all that North Korea revealed. A new airborne early warning aircraft.
And they keep lying by showing these big giant planes as if that's going to be the AI-powered drone. Nah, the AI-powered drone is like Elder Shemaiah says, it's as big as a dang on a bird.
Was also brought out from under the covers. It will be used to track any incoming aerial threats. However, military experts say it's a Russian copy or could even be a...
So the Russians gave the North Koreans a reconnaissance plane, saying it's the same plane. If not the same plane, the same design. Russia and North Korea working together. The kings of the North, the princes of Meshach and Tubal, the Russians working together with the kings of the East, the North Koreans.
Russian plane that's been repainted as a North Korean one. South Korea's military has already called out North Korea's propaganda.
If you see it, you will know that it appears to be quite dull, heavy, and vulnerable to interception. We believe that the internal devices and components may have connections to Russia, and the model itself is an upgraded version of the one that North Korea previously owned.
Relations between Russia and North Korea go back to the 1950s, but
North Korea,
the two nations have
there goes him
upgraded.
and Vladimir Putin. North Korea makes new weapons with rising tensions with the U.S. South Korea is shook. When we last did our last prepared war weapon, Most High through the Spirit showed us that North Korea was lighting up the border and blowing up the entrances at the border of North and South Korea. Now all of a sudden the man got AI-powered drones, right? So we're going to drop this video so we can get to maybe 1 or 2 more. We got 10 minutes left. We're on the clock right now, right? And I got all these videos the Most High in the Spirit gave to us. So we got a whole bunch of videos. Again, anybody, y'all can go check out the videos in there, right? So here goes Iran.
Everyone flexing his military, though. Iran, too, is joining the party.
Let's see if Iran is doing the same thing, beating the plowshares into swords and beating the pruning hooks into spears. The weak saying that I'm strong. Iran looked at as a weak nation, that they have to fight all their wars through proxies, such as the Houthis, such as the Hezbollah, such as the Hamas, that they can't come out and step up and fight for the people of Palestine, the people of Yemen, the people of Lebanon. So Iran is looked at as a weak nation by America, that they can't just go ahead and violate whatever treaties are there and start making their own nuclear weapons. They need permission from America and the European nations to go ahead and start making nuclear weapons. So one thing that Iran did to step up and show that that some strength, they went ahead and they joined BRICS. That's what the I in BRICS stands for.
Iran has released a new video. And what is it about? An underground city loaded with missiles. This is an 85-second video. It was released by the Iranian state media. It shows 2 generals inspecting weapons. And all of this is happening underground.
It said they got a whole city underground full of missiles ready to rain on Israel, ready to rain on American allies, ready to rain on the European Union and all the people that are in Europe, Poland and Great Britain, all the people that want to try and come against Russia. This isn't just a threat being made to the U.S. This is a threat being made to the European Union. Those 10 horns, the beast and the 10 horns, and the whore that sat upon the beast. The beast is getting injured right now.
But there's more than what meets the eye. Let's start with the two generals. They aren't your ordinary commanders. One of them is General Mohammad Hossein Bagheri. He's the chief of staff of Iran's armed forces. Beside him is General Amir Ali Haji Zadeh. He is the IRGC aerospace chief. He also commands the rockets and missile forces. The IRGC stands for Islamic Revolutionary.
It says that they plan to develop a new missile city every week. So you got Kim Jong-un displaying his new AI drone-powered kamikaze drones. You got Iran saying, look, y'all better back up off me. The weak is saying, look, let the weak say I'm strong. Look, we got missiles. We got more missiles underground in cities, probably built under deserts where they could care less if you blow it up. You're not going to be blowing up their people. And the Iranians as a people want for America to go down, want for America's allies, the European Union, to go down. So what is the Most High doing? He's bringing Trump versus the European Union via tariffs. So even America and the beast and the whore is not liking each other no more. Right? These 10 horns is going against the harlot that sat upon the beast. Mystery Babylon America is going against the 10 horns, which are the 10 ruling nations of the European Union. They all fighting against each other now. Most High is bringing it to a perfect end. The beginning of sorrows is what you're seeing right now. And what we've been seeing. Right?
Guard Corps, it's not like the Iranian army. This group only defends the Islamic regime and its supreme leader. That's what the IRGC is for. It's very powerful. Now, both these generals are responsible for Tehran's long-range weapons. Clearly, they are very important.
It says Trump gave them 2 months to cut a deal. Trump warns Iran to stop supporting Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Right? This is all going back to what you see happening on your screen right before you. Right? On your news, your local news screen that you see. Right? Get 2 Chronicles chapter 15 and 16. Baba Kashar. Right? This goes into, and precepts with nation shall rise against nation, and that they're beating their plowshares into swords and pruning hooks into spears. Bring it out real quick. 2 Chronicles 15 and 16, Baba Kashar. It's on the screen if you need it.
This is 2 Chronicles chapter 15 and verse 16. And also concerning Makkah.
No, verse 6, Baba Kashar, my bad.
Okay.
It's on the screen.
And nation was destroyed of nation and city of city, for God did vex them with all adversity.
That's what all of these nations are going through. That's why YAWASAP prophesied, nation shall rise up against nation. And these nations they want to destroy each other. Why? Trump covets the land that they have in Ukraine. Putin covets the land that they have in Ukraine. Right? All these natural resources, all of these elements that are in the ground, from the oil to the quartz to the lithium, those are all vital, especially the quartz and the lithium are vital to the devices that we use nowadays. The oil as well. You know, people try and act like we're not going to use oil anymore. We're going to have solar power and wind power and all this stuff. That's hogwash. We're going to need oil. People have been using oil since the beginning of time. We're going to need oil. Right? And so nation was destroyed of nation and city of city. That's what we're going to see happening. Cities are being destroyed. Look at what's happening in Gaza. Look at what's happening in Ukraine. Look at what's happening here in America, in California, in the Midwest. Cities are being destroyed by the hand of the Most High. The Most High is bringing his hand specifically against America.
If you have an iPhone, my daughter, she's only 10, just taught me this hack. It's this cleanup app. Open.
Mute up. That's why you see these different things happening with the storm and the tempest. That's why you see these different things happening with these, like I said, earthquakes in diverse places, these natural disasters. We just read that, right? You see all of that happening here in America, as well as you see earthquakes happening across the world in diverse places. They just had a volcano erupt in Hawaii the other day. They just had an earthquake happen somewhere in Asia the other day, right? And all of these things are happening as you see the nations trying to destroy each other. As you're seeing Putin go in and try and take Kiev. As you see Syria going in and Damascus being thrown down in Syria, and the government being toppled and taken over. And now Israel trying to encroach onto Syrian land and claim even more. The wannabes, the small hats, right, are trying to do that. Not the true Israelites. God's going to give us the land back, right? God vexed them with all adversity. That's what you see happening right now. The adverse reactions to all of these nations, such as North Korea, such as Ukraine, such as Russia, such as China, such as Taiwan, all rising up and ready to go to war. Canada and Greenland ready to shut Donald Trump down from coming in and trying to take over their land. Right? Let's go back to the video.
The video begins with them riding in an open jeep. They drive through the tunnels, which are packed with hundreds of missiles. Then they step down. They salute pictures of Iran's supreme leader and walk over an Israeli flag. Let me unpack the video a little further for you. Iran is sending a message here that its attack platforms are ready. Almost all of Iran's strategic weapons were on display here. This includes the Ghadar and Qasim missiles. Both of these were used to strike Israel in October last year. The tunnels were also lined with warheads and hundreds of rockets. Clearly, it's a signal. Tehran is ready for any escalation. And the Iranian generals did not mince any words. They said Iran will make a new missile city every week. Listen to this.
If we start today, we will.
Hey, King.
They looking for the smoke.
God.
They want all the smoke, baby.
God, Elder, they want all the smoke right now. And look, we ready for war. Nation shall rise against nation, man. All praises to the Most High.
All praises to the Most High.
God. And that's heavy right there though, because you usually, even in the art of war, it says not to let somebody know what type of weapon you have. I'm paraphrasing the art of war by Sun Tzu. So usually countries don't want you to see, that they have these type of facilities. So Iran is at their boiling point right now. The dragons of Arabia, like it says in 2nd Esdras chapter 15, the dragons of Arabia is stepping up and coming together now and ready to go to war with the small hats. Enough is enough with Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis and the imposters. Enough is enough with the synagogue of Satan. And so the Most High is bringing together the children of Ishmael, right? Ishmael had 12 princes. Ishmael received his blessing, right? We the kings and the priests. It just so happened the Most High blessed Ishmael with 12 princes. And that was before We came and became the prince of the power, the Most High's kings and priests, a nation of kings and priests. But Ishmael had his blessing, and he's going to go to war with Esau and the Edomites. They're going to bring their instruments of war and their weapons of war, and they're going to go to war together and after each other. The kings of the east is rising up. The Moabites, the Ammonites, they rising up. They ready to fight. The Ishmaelites ready to fight. And who they ready to fight? They ready to fight the Edomites. They're ready to take on our enemies through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We don't got to lift a finger. We got to do just like Jehoshaphat in 2 Chronicles chapter 20 and verse 18. We just got to praise the Most High, glorify, honor the Most High through Yahweh Shai. Praise the Lamb, for the Lamb is worthy to be praised. Give praise to Yahweh Shai. The Wadi Yahweh, the Wadi Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kahala Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Give the Most High praise, honor, and glory, and the Most High is going to come against our enemies. That's the wisdom that we have. Keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Glorify and honor and praise the Most High through faith in Yahweh Shai, and watch the Most High bring forth his prophecy to happen. Open our eyes, open our ears, open our hearts, and do his will right before our very eyes. Right? So we're gonna hear what this guy got to say, and I wanted to get to 2 more videos and a couple more scriptures quick. So we went a little overtime again.
Unveil a new missile city every week. The project will continue for the next 2 years.
A new missile city every week. That's what Iran wants.
For 2 years.
But it won't be easy. Underground bases require a lot of funds, a lot of manpower, a lot of space, and a lot of time. Iran already has a few, at least 3 that we know of, 3 such cities. The IRGC revealed its first underground base in 2020. That was in western Iran. The other 2 bases are slightly more north, and now Iran has a 4th underground facility. The location remains a secret, but the revealing comes at an important time. Tensions in the region are at an all-time high. Tehran is facing threats from Washington. Trump has given a 2-month deadline for a new deal. A new nuclear deal. Like I said, Trump scrapped the first.
It ain't going to be no new deal. Because like we just read in the scriptures, God is vexing them with all adversity. He's vexing Trump. He's vexing. He's making the Iranians get angry. They vexed at Trump. Trump is vexed that he couldn't come in and stop the war in Russia, the war in Ukraine and Russia. He's vexed that Kim Jong-un is toting his new AI weaponry. He's vexed that Canada won't become the 51st state, and that Greenland is bucking the system and won't become a territory of America. He's vexed that our people are learning who they are. So he's signing deals. He's signing executive orders to deport our people. He's signing executive orders to make laws against anti-Semitism. You think they really care less about deporting or arresting these college kids? Those anti-Semitism laws are being put in place for us to not be able to teach on the corners anymore. That's why you saw more protests about Palestine during the time while Biden was president. Where's all the so-called Democrats on? And I was in the middle of them protests over here in Washington, D.C. at American University and the other various universities that are surrounding here in Washington, D.C. There ain't been a protest since then. Ain't nobody protest that Kamala Harris didn't win. Ain't nobody out there protesting about Palestine. When we went to the White House this year, there were protesters out at the White House talking about free Palestine. You don't see those protests erupting in New York right now. When the Democrat was president, when Biden was president, there was protests once to twice a month. At minimum, every 2 weeks in New York, there was a protest. Out here in D.C. And in Columbia University. All the way out to USC in California. There was protest all over about free Palestine. People walking around New York with the Palestinian flag. Where all that energy went? Palestine ain't get free. They still bombing Palestine. They fooled you with the ceasefire agreement at the end of Biden just to make Biden go out on a good note. They fooled people with that. We knew where it was really coming from. Lies from the devil. Right? And the devil being the so-called white man. Just putting lies up there to fool our people. Right? So we go into the next video real quick. Or I'll finish letting him
First nuclear deal in his first term. He wants a new one now. He also wants Iran to stop supporting its proxies. He wants to shut the tap for Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Here's what he said.
You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have the Houthis, you got a lot of stuff going on with Iran. And we sent a letter to Iran. You're going to have to be speaking to us one way or the other pretty soon because we can't let this happen.
This is March 25th. This is brand new news I'm bringing to you.
Having Trump in the White House gives Iran a lot more to worry about. And why is that? Because Trump has close relations with Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was the first foreign leader to visit Trump after his return. And he was there for a purpose. Bombs. You see, the Biden administration had paused some weapons deliveries to Israel. This included heavy-grade munitions. Joe Biden was unhappy with Netanyahu's offensive in Gaza, so he stopped sending some weapons, but that was overturned last month. Washington has restarted the deliveries. This includes the 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs. These weapons have one purpose: penetrate the surface and explode underground. Bunker buster bombs. And that is bad news for Iran because these underground missile cities are now vulnerable. They're designed for a specific purpose: to keep missile stockpiles safe from aerial attacks. But they can be taken out using bunker buster bombs. Even a single bomb would be catastrophic. So despite being underground, Iran's missile cities are at risk now. A single blast would trigger a chain reaction. It would explode the whole facility.
So we got two of the enemies right now coming up with new weapons and new bombs to wage war. Well, let's see what Europe is doing right now, right? We got 1, 2, 3 more videos. I'm going to play a little bit of the videos. You guys want to watch again the whole videos, you can go in, right? Let's see what Europe is doing.
Let me show 3 iPhone mistakes made by old people.
Forbes News,
Number 1 is deleting photos manually. Number 2.
All right, just so you can see.
So Europe is getting ready for war, and it wants its citizens to prepare too. Brussels has issued guidelines for all 450 million Europeans. 450 million people across all 27 member states. Every household has been asked to maintain a survival kit to stock up on things like bottled water, canned food, a torch, and basic supplies like toilet paper. This stock should last for at least 3 days.
And we just read famine and pestilence in the book of Matthew 24:7. Famine and pestilence, nation against nation, vexing, right? Europe is vexed right now with Donald Trump because Donald Trump is putting tariffs on them, right? The price of the wine is going up, right? The price of liquor is going up, right? Because Trump is putting 200% tariffs on Europe. Europe is being vexed, like we just read in the scriptures. Right?
That is the instruction. It is part of a new European strategy for preparedness.
Today's threats facing Europe are more complex than ever, and they are all interconnected. The battlefields in our pockets, our phones, our computers, our power plants, our banks, our supply chains, our raw materials, and in the media, the social media we consume every day. These are all battlefields, and they are being weaponized to threaten our European way of life and our democracies.
Brussels wants Europeans to be ready for anything: a war, cyber attacks, extreme weather events like floods or wildfires, even a major disease outbreak. Europeans must be self-sufficient, at least for the first 72 hours of any crisis. That is the key message of Europe's preparedness plan. Top EU leaders are urging people to act on it. They're suggesting keeping an emergency bag ready at home.
It's Ajal Habib. Welcome to What's in My Bag Survival Edition. My document in a waterproof pouch. A must in a...
Now this is heavy, man. This is something that they're advertising in Europe. Get yourself a 3-day survival bag. They telling the people prior to these things happening, that's what they do. They put it out in movies. They put it out in commercials. They put this information out. Why? Because they know it's right around the corner. They know nation is going to rise up against nation. They know the nations and the cities are going to be destroyed, that the people and the government is being vexed by each.
Shalaki King.
Go ahead, Elder.
And that is like when back in the days when they used to teach school kids, if the nuclear bomb hits America, go under your desk and cover your head. That's how stupid that is. 3 days in a crisis is nothing in terms of important goods you're going to need. Right? You'll be as safe as a nuclear bomb hits and you cover your head. Like that's really going to do anything. You could be under your desk. You see what happened, like what they show, like when a nuclear bomb hits in a movie, you get vaporized. Hiding under a desk, covering your head, laying down in the street if you're outdoors and laying and covering your head is not going to do nothing. So telling people to have at least 3 days of emergency supplies in the event of an emergency, it means you're dead. That's literally what it means. You're dead because 3 days, no, you cannot survive on 3 days. An emergency happens, it's not going to take 3 days for things to get back to normal. So, yeah, this is why the wealthy have built bunkers and they have 24 years of supplies. They don't have 3 days supplies in those bunkers. They have food that would last for 24 years plus. So here you go, King. I yield.
And Elder segued right into a video that we'll watch 2 minutes more of this, and then I'll show you a couple of the bunker videos because that's on the list right there. Elder, all praises. You're in the spirit with that
Brussels. Let's talk
about
about
go way over time.
I have a flashlight and of course the light. Turn. And my special friend, a Swiss Army knife, and of course some cash. In the middle of a crisis, cash is king. A charger and a power bank, because a dead fool is a dead end. This is everything you need to survive the first 72 hours of a crisis. Speaking about being prepared, the EU is preparing its strategy to be sure that every citizen is safe in case of crisis. Be prepared, be safe.
Believe me, that's a real video. Hajja Labib shared it on X. She is the European Commissioner for Preparedness and Crisis Management. She is the driving force behind this plan, and it does not stop at survival kits. In future, the EU wants to have a National Preparedness Day. They haven't locked a date yet, but the plan is grand and exhaustive. Preparedness will become a part of the school curriculum.
See? So let's go into, let me show you real quick. And those are the next one with the bunkers should be shorts. Where is it at? We got a couple videos on the draft, videos on the trade war with Canada. So definitely videos on the egg prices being outrageous. Where is the shorts at?
Their favorite place for billionaires is New Zealand. Believe it or not, there are villages in New Zealand that are entirely made of underground bunkers.
There are villages in New Zealand that are entirely made of underground bunkers, right?
According to the companies that build them, creating one of these bunkers costs about $8.5 million.
$8.5 million. We gotta hope for the chariots. These bunkers is $8.5 million. And these are small, tiny ones. These are village bunkers, right? We're going to look at the one Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates got. They got a whole village to themselves. But $8.5 million, our people have to put our hope in Yahawashi. We have to put our hope that Yahawashi is going to come with the chariots and save us. We understand we got to go through Jacob's trouble, but that we would be saved out of Jacob's trouble, right? Let's get a couple quick scriptures, right? So what are they building these underground bunkers for, right? Bring out Revelation chapter 6, start at verse 15. I'll put it on the screen for you, King. I'll read it. Revelation 6 and 16. And said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us. Right? So they're going to be in the mountains. They're going to be under the rocks of the ground. They're going to be here hiding in their bunkers. And when they say fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So they're hiding from the wrath of Yahawashi. And who is Yahweh and Yahawashi using to take out and enact their vengeance? It says in Ezekiel that he will enact his vengeance by the hand with Israel, right? So they're hiding from Yahawashi because Yahawashi is now sending out the chariots and sending out the Israelites to go ahead and bring the Most High's vengeance upon the Edomites and upon these wicked nations. And so that's what they're hiding in these bunkers for. They're not just building rockets and missiles and all this other stuff and going and building $8.5 million bunkers in countries. They got cities in countries. New Zealand's a country. And in the country of New Zealand, they got cities that are made up of underground bunkers because they're saying, hide us from him. Hide us from Yahweh who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, because Yahweh Shai is going to be down here kicking butt and taking names later. He's going to be slaying people, drawing blood at the sword. That's what they're building these bunkers for, because they know that they need a place to hide from Yahweh who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Right? So that's why they're building these $8.5 million.
And even after spending such a large sum, all you get is 9 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a garage, a gym, and an office. Oh, and don't forget the underground garden that comes with it. You may be wondering, who would spend so much money on these? Many experts believe that Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has already purchased one of these luxurious bunkers in New Zealand. Bill Gates, too, bought several underground bunkers back in 2015.
Onto what's believed to be within the gates, once construction is completed, is 12 buildings.
Go ahead.
And you know why they're not building those bunkers in the U.S.? Because they know Babylon's going to get destroyed.
They know Babylon is going to fall. You said it right there, Elder. That's why they said it's in New Zealand. They
exactly.
Know they got to get to the other side of the world.
How much land Bill Gates own here in America? How much farmland? He could build his bunker anywhere in the U.S.
But
he knows this place is about to be destroyed.
Where is that one at? Did we watch that video last time? No, you're right, Elder. Go ahead. I was just looking for the video because we got the one on Bill Gates with the farmland somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. I yield, man. I ain't want to hold you up.
No, all praises to the Most High, Elder. You're right. Right?
Their favorite place for billionaires is New Zealand.
Right?
Believe it or not.
And when we go into, like the Elder said, why Bill Gates ain't building it here? Right?
I personalized the outer packaging of the coffee, and I made a TikTok.
About 80%.
When I went viral, I had over 1,200 orders and over $25,000 in sales. Had it not been for TikTok, Cafe and Pros would not be around today.
The foods that we're eating. But why
of
doesn't
American
he just go ahead
farmland.
and build
Gates alone
a
holds
bunker here?
over
There it goes
275.
right there. Bill Gates, 275,000 acres. They promised us 40 acres and a mule. This Edomite wicked devil that went out and bought 275,000 acres. Look at all the states he owns land in. North Carolina. I got my little acre and a half in North Carolina. I feel like I'm happy as I don't know what. Just like Zephaniah, I'm happy as I don't know what. They just reassessed the property value of the land and it went up a little bit. So I was happy the other day when I got that letter. Like last week, they sent out property tax estimated values, and mine went up a little bit. I was like, "Oh, praise to the Most High!" This man, Bill Gates, got 275,000 acres. The Most High said He's going to give us back double what these wicked Edomite devils stole from us. With this wicked conquistador, this wicked colonist. This wicked small hat imposter from the synagogue of Satan stole from us. That's why it says in the scriptures, in my Father's house is many mansions. So when the kingdom of heaven comes, it's going to be a lot. The whole world and the fullness thereof is going to bow to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai, through their faithfulness and through their love and through their mercy and their grace, is going to give us opportunity to rule alongside and be co-heirs with Yahweh Shai. So we're going to have rulership over the whole earth and dominion, as it was written in the beginning, over the whole earth. We just got to keep faith in Yahweh Shai and keep the commandments. Go out and teach our people and feed the sheep. I ain't worried about Bill Gates and his 275 acres, but again, elders in the spirit. Elder asked that question about the bunkers. Boom, we right on top of it in the spirit. Asked the question about the how many acres Bill Gates owned. Boom, we right on top of it in the spirit. Why? Because the Most High wants us to be understanding of the times that we're in now. The understanding of the beginning of sorrows, nation rising up against nation. The understanding of the weak saying that they are strong. The understanding that our job is to go out and feed the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It's our job, it's our duty. It's our covenant that we made. It's a commandment from Yahweh Shai to go out to the highways and the hedges and to feed his sheep if we love him. So if you love me, Peter, go feed my sheep. And he asked them 3 times for completion. That's what we got to go out and do. Let Bill Gates buy the land. They said Bill Gates bought multiple spots out in New Zealand. Right? And like the elder said, man owned 275 acres here in America. Why he not building bunkers here in America? Because he knows. Bezos knows. Donald Trump knows. This country is going to be destroyed, and the Most High is using Donald Trump to destroy this country. He came out and said he's going to, in his pride, Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, came out in his pride to say he's going to make America great again. His pride is going to be his downfall, prophesied through the scriptures. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Right? So we'll finish playing this, and then we'll jump back. Oh, we're not going to play the whole thing. It's 5 minutes.
States.
And I'm
Our
already
next
over,
guest is a Virginia farmer
we're doing
who lives
overtime
near
tonight,
one of
class.
Gates's data centers.
Bringing
National
in the
Black
new year,
Farmers
all praise to the
Association
Most High,
President
right?
John Boyd Jr. joins us now. John, so great to have you on. So I'm sure you put a lot of thought into this. Why do you think Bill Gates is buying up all this land?
Well, one is greed, and it's running America's family farm is off family land. Basically, we can't buy the land once Bill Gates moves into the area. For example, his data center is right next door here, and since he's located in Boydton, Virginia, land prices have went through the roof, $15,000, $20,000 an acre. What farmer do you know that can pay that kind of money per acre? Off anything that we can grow on the farm? He doesn't do anything when he comes into these areas to support community-based organizations or invest back into these communities. That's what's hurting America right now.
Yeah.
And what he's trying to do now in the food industry is the same thing that they've done with seeds. You know, when they put genetically modified seeds in, and now he wants to to do that with beef. But you know, America's farmers are proud farmers. And I'm asking Americans not to support fake meat, but to support farmers out here who grow beef like I do, and poultry and pork. Support America's farmers and not support Bill Gates and this mega.
Well, he went too far. He was on a good road until he said, let's support the pork. But he was on a good road until then. But the black farmers are the ones that are being hurt from this, because, as he said, you know, we don't have the money. We already are, especially in terms of farmland ownership, we're in the minority, and we get the short end of the stick as black farmers here in America. So when you have a Bill Gates and China basically competing with each other to buy up the land, then poisoning the land through pesticides with seeds, that's where the famine comes in. Like we read in Matthew 24:7, this is how the famine is coming in, because now Bill Gates is buying up the land. He doesn't want you to buy real beef. Why do you think they're saying a shortage on chickens, a shortage on eggs? Because the enemy is in ownership of the farmland that the chicken and the beef is supposed to be growing on, but he doesn't want you to buy real chicken. He doesn't want you to buy real beef. He wants you to buy Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers and 3D printed meat and non-organic fruits and vegetables that are grown through pesticides and chemically grown, basically. That's what he wants you to buy. So he brought up all the farmland. He said, okay, if I can't beat him, if I can't join him, I'm going to beat him. And how I'm going to beat him is go in and buy up all the land from him, snatch it up from him real quick. China saw that. China came in and did the same. America is scared of China. And Bill Gates is going, and he's one of the, from, what's his name, Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos to Bill Gates to Donald Trump. They all in that millionaire category, that extra rich category. I remember Shemaiah did a lesson and taught us, the weight of having trillions upon trillions of dollars going through, and Elder Shemaiah and Captain Karatazar did a lesson on showing following the money. Right? And what we think $1 billion is, that's nothing to the guy who's a quadrillionaire. And I remember the video that Elder Shemaiah played that showed how small $1 billion looks compared to the money that the Rockefellers and the BlackRock corporations and those people whose names you don't know, who are in control and pulling the strings. But really, they're not in control and pulling the strings. It's the Most High who's moving the heart of the kings. They just think they're pulling the strings. But the Most High's hand is in control of the kings. Right? So we're going to let the man finish talking, even though he went off with the pork.
Theory and mindset that he has.
Yeah.
It's really called greed.
Yeah, no, and by the way, it's not just Bill Gates. The Chinese also gobbling up a lot of American farmland. You talked about pork. The Chinese own the biggest pork processing plant. Brazil does too, but China, I think, owns multiple of them. It's not good for our economy, and it's not good for the small farm.
And it's crazy. Speaking of China and pork, right? I was training a trainee at my job today, and we went to get lunch, and so we went into this Chinese restaurant, and the dang on Moabite ordered pork blood soup. So it's like these little chunks in the soup that kind of look like beets, right? Or like a liver. So I'm like, what is that? Is that liver or like beets inside your soup? And the Moabite goes, no, it's pork blood, and starts slapping it down and like just slurping pork blood down. And there's like chunks of pork blood, like, formed actual blood that she just is slurping down and eating. I was like, yo, this is madness right here. We got to get up out of this kingdom, man. This kingdom is wicked. The damn Moabites actually eat pork blood. I never seen that before in my life. I was totally disgusted. My stomach been hurting all day. I couldn't take it.
Well, was it spicy pork blood?
I think so. I think that's what it's called, spicy pork. But if not, she put some honey, some or some sriracha. You know that sriracha sauce with the damn chicken on the front of the bottle. She put that hot sauce in there. And she was tearing that thing up and was eating uncooked meat, like straight raw slices of meat. Like they sliced the meat, like they sliced the beef, like turkey in a convenience store at at the deli or something. They
Man, the
sliced
kind
it.
of parasites they got, it's probably just like unbelievable.
Elder, I couldn't. I was just. I was like ready to throw up, literally sitting
That's
at
crazy.
ready. I could. I didn't eat nothing. I drank a cup of tea, and I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want no food, man." and I think they had picked up on it. They didn't want to work with for the rest of the day with me because they could tell I was just like totally disgusted. I couldn't believe it when she said pork blood. I just like my face. I couldn't even control the you so nasty look that I had on my face. I was like, you was a nasty, dirty dog. You definitely eat all kind of stuff, puppies and all kind of nasty stuff, man. And I'm talking about throwing it back like it was a bowl of your favorite cereal. You ever eat your favorite cereal and you just taking it in. Oh man, it was like a bowl of porridge, just throwing it back. A porridge on a nice winter morning. Goodness gracious, I couldn't take it, Elder. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, when they say the Chinese man is trying to control the pork industry, that's it. And if our people just kept the law, statutes, and commandments, we could shut down the pork industry because there's so many. Most of that stuff is being eaten and brought by our people, especially here in America, unfortunately. Our people want to go out and march. I think they got a march set up for April 5th or something like that. They got a boycott Target set up or another boycott set up, but they don't want to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. What's this march going to do? You march for George Floyd. It did nothing. You march for Black Lives Matter. It did nothing. You went and you boycotted a month ago or something like that. They boycotted so all these different companies, boycott for the day. And I remember telling family and friends, like, they wanted to boycott on the Shabbat. I was like, we should be keeping the Shabbat, not buying or selling from these places anyway, on an every week basis, just because it's the Shabbat, not because Donald Trump got elected and now you want to boycott because he got rid of DEI.
It's like, these white companies telling you, listen, we don't really want you to buy from us. Go away. And we fight to buy from them.
God.
We march to buy from them.
God. It's a sad day when we see our people trying to resort to these measures that haven't worked for us throughout the course of history in any captivity that we've been in, especially dealing here in America. It does not work for us following after the heathen, buying after the heathen, running after the heathen, trying to go out and march and protest. That didn't get us nowhere. That got Martin shot, Malcolm shot, Huey shot, Fred shot. Didn't get our people nowhere. Didn't get us no progress. Because you got hundreds of faces of men, young black men predominantly, but also young women, young Hispanic men and women, young Native American and Seminole Indian men and women that are being trafficked, that are being killed, that are being murdered by the police. They ain't doing nothing. But yet our people still think, oh, we're going to get together and march. And that's going to move the needle. No, get together, gather together, O ye nation not desired, and keep the commandments and faith in YAWASAP, and watch how fast this kingdom begins to crumble. It's a slow crumble right now because the remnant is still waking up. And all praise to the Most High. We see the time hastening. We see the time speeding up because more of us have woken up. Because and we aren't waking up on our own accord. It's the Most High who is waking us up in His timing, as His will is being done, as His prophecies are being shown forth, and His word is being shown faithful and true. So it's the Most High doing all the work. We just along for the ride. Just like when we get on the chariots, it's the Most High going to be doing all the work, sending the chariots pick us up. We just going to be along for the ride. And then the Most High is going to have us do his will and come and put these heathens in the chains that they that the Most High prophesied that they would be in. Right? So we're going to drop this video real quick because it's already 12:06, right? And then we will do, let me see, we did that one. Europe preparing for war. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard about this. I won't even do the video, but supposedly Trump is supposed to be declaring martial law sometime in April. So remember, he keeps pushing everything out to April. He's pushing out to April the tariffs, right? April 2nd, the tariffs are supposed to be enacted on Canada, Europe, and any other nation that chooses to do business with BRICS, right? Because it's not, they're just putting Canada and Europe in the news, but he's actually putting tariffs on China, Canada, the European Union, and any nation that does business with BRICS. They are going to be receiving additional tariffs and higher tariffs from Donald Trump and his regime and the American government. So that begins on April 2nd. So during the month of April, people are predicting that all hell is going to break loose. All praise to the Most High, and martial law could be declared sometime in April. So just watch out for that, right? Again, the video is right there on the page if you want to jump into that video. I don't want to take too much of you guys' time because we're already after 12.
Right? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has now claimed that his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin will quote-unquote die soon. Now, these remarks come amid widespread speculation about the Russian leader's health, and Russia has strongly rejected all speculation, maintaining that the Russian leader is fully fit. The Ukrainian leader made the bold claim while speaking to a French journalist in a televised interview after meeting the French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. Zelensky said Putin hopes to remain in power until his death, and his ambitions are not limited to Ukraine. He added that the Russian leader's death would bring an end to the war between the two countries. There has been growing.
Now, on our news channels, they're showing that everything is supposed to be cool between Putin and between Vladimir Zelensky and Vladimir Putin. This video came out roughly 12 hours ago. So it's not what they're telling us in the news. Right? Let me see if I got that scripture already pulled up. Surely when they say peace, peace. I know I got it. It's in Thessalonians. Right here in Thessalonians, right? 1 Thessalonians. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. That's what you see happening right now. They just went out a week or two ago and said Trump tried to because Donald Trump said once he becomes the president of the United States, he'll end the war in 24 hours. That's happening between Russia and Ukraine. It's been over 3 months, so now he's trying to force feed Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Zelensky to sign a deal. And a week to 2 weeks later, Vladimir Zelensky is saying that Vladimir Putin is going to die soon, and that's when the war is going to end. So you think Vladimir Putin is just going to sit back and be like, oh, yeah, this guy just wished death upon me. Let me sign a deal and say everything is cool? No, that's why the scriptures prophesy and say, for when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction will come upon them. That's what's happening. Sudden destruction is coming upon all these nations, especially America, which is trying to push peace and safety. Trump keeps saying, yeah, I want to have peace, peace and safety. But then at the other side of his mouth, he's like, World War III is on the horizon. World War III is on the horizon. He was saying that all throughout his campaign. He's been saying that now. And then out of the blue, out of nowhere, he just went and started bombing the Houthis again and gave Israel the okay to go ahead and start bombing bombing Hamas and Palestine and Gaza. That's because when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction is coming upon them. And that's what we see happening right before our very eyes. So one thing I wanted to show, I didn't see the thing there, so I'll look it up real quick. Who does Ukraine get weapons from? Right? Watch this. According to defense expert Malcolm Chalmers, at the beginning of 2025, the U.S. provided 20% of all military equipment to Ukraine, and Ukraine was using with 25% provided by Europe, 55% produced by Ukraine. However, 20% supplied by the U.S. is the most lethal and important weapons. So the most lethal and important weapons that Ukraine is getting is from the United States, right? Let's see who's giving them the weapons. They also supply Israel, but we're looking. Lockheed Martin is a key supplier of military equipment to Ukraine, particularly through contracts with the U.S. government for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, including the production of HIMARS rockets, systems, and other weapons systems. Key weapons systems. Lockheed Martin is an American arms manufacturer. They're not government affiliated. They are a private American arms manufacturer. So when Ukraine receives $100 billion from America, guess who they write that check back to get the weapons? They write it right back to to us. Or not to us, but they write it right back to America. So all of that stuff you were seeing in the news, oh, we're giving Ukraine $100 billion. No, that money was just coming right back to the rich of America. Right back coming to the wealthy people in America. The owners of Lockheed Martin, which is BlackRock, which is Bill Gates, which is Bezos, and all of these other millionaires and billionaires that are building dang on bunkers. They're supplying the weapons. The American taxpayer gives the taxes to the government. The government gives billions to Ukraine. Ukraine goes and writes a check right back to American private arms manufacturers. And there's more than Lockheed Martin. I actually had them all pulled up. I don't know where they disappeared to, right? Lockheed Martin is involved in the production of several weapon systems that have been supplied to Ukraine, including HIMARS, High Mobility Artillery Rocket Systems, a crucial long-range rocket system that has been provided to Ukraine. ATACMS, we saw big news last year on the ATACMS missile. Once Ukraine set the ATACMS missile over into Europe, or over into Russia, that really got Putin very mad, and Putin hit them with the hypersonic missile. ATACMS, Army Tactical Missile System, a tactical missile system with a long range, which the United States authorized for use against targets on Russian soil in 2024. That was what we just talked about, right? PAC-3 F-16s, right? Contracts and funding. Lockheed Martin has received contracts under the USAI, which allows the Ukrainian government to contract directly with the U.S. industry for weapons procurement. The White House has announced large arms packages for Ukraine with a significant portion. They're not getting weapons from our army or our military. We're not giving them our military weapons. We have an arms manufacturer, with an S, arms manufacturers here in America that are supplying Ukraine with the weapons that they're using. Right? Ukraine to buy military equipment services. Lockheed Martin, Pratt & Whitney, a Belgian-based company, Sabina, will serve as the principal contractors of the transaction. Right? $266 million purchase of F-16s sustainment and support. Right? And Lockheed Martin, let's look at it here. For more than half a century, Lockheed Martin has partnered with allies of the United States to support their most important missions. Today, we're a global business with a presence in more than 50 countries. They're supplying Raytheon is another one. A Raytheon-made Patriot GEM-T missile firing from a launcher in a test. RTX Raytheon has received a $478 million contract from NATO. Raytheon is another American arms manufacturer, a private arms manufacturer that is getting a check from NATO for $478 million to supply weapons to war-torn Ukraine. The company announced Tuesday, August 6, 2024. This is last year. So all those billions and billions, and they make, they put these big, large numbers out there, and America sent this billions. No, America sent that money over, and Ukraine sent it right back over here. Right? Now let's look at, real quick, because you always like the elder taught us. When the elders and our captains and our priest Sabak, Elder Torah, Elder Shemayim, Captain Karatazar, Captain Ariyah, when they're doing lessons, you got to go watch the lesson, take your notes, and then start digging deep and going into the lesson. When the elder put out, the Elder Shemaiah put out the lesson of these rich families who have trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars, make a millionaire look like he broke. I wanted to go deeper and find out who are these people. When Captain Karatazar put out the lesson of follow the money, I wanted to. They throwing all these billions of dollars across the table. We ain't getting none of it. I wanted to see who got these billions of dollars and then who's getting these checks. Right. So let's look. Lockheed Martin owned by. Right. So we got the AI coming up again. Right. We can use the AI too. Lockheed Martin is a publicly traded company, meaning it's owned by its shareholders, primarily institutional investors like State Street Corporation, Vanguard Group, and BlackRock. That goes back to Elder Shemaya's lesson. The people that are funding this war, all praise to the Most High, in their pride, in their greed and their hunger for money, in their love of money, which is rooted in the evil and the wickedness and the liars that they are, the small hats, the Edomites, the so-called white man, the devil, right? You see State Street. Now, if we dug a little bit deeper into State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock, we're going to say, oh, snap. This is a publicly traded company. It could be the regular average white man you see walking down 42nd Street in New York when we held in camp, or coming out of Macy's with a shopping bag, or probably driving by and we don't even know who's in that limo. We don't even know who's in that cyber truck. Right? A more detailed breakdown. Publicly traded Lockheed Martin Corporation trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Shareholders, the company shares are held by a mix of individuals and institutional investors. Major institutional investors. As of 2024, some of the largest institutional shareholders include State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Capital Group companies. Charles Schwab. That's something you see on the TV show, on the TV when you see the commercials for Charles Schwab. Capital Group, meaning Capital One, your credit card. That's who owns Lockheed Martin. That's who's funding this whole war. Unlike a privately held company, no single entity or individual owns a controlling stake in Lockheed Martin, just basically making it so that nobody can get blamed when the world blows up. We're not going to blame anybody. We're going to say, oh, praise to the Most High, blowing up this wicked country and destroying it with a fervent heat. But that is just a little dive deep into showcasing when we get these beautiful lessons from our elders like Elder Shemai, Captain Karatazar, Priest Sabak, Elder Torah, Elder Kasadia, and they give us all these lessons. We always can dive a little bit deeper in your studies, and we can go and we could trace this money. We could find out who these trillionaires are at BlackRock and Vanguard and the State Street Corporation, right? And who's running and in control of Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, right? All those people, all the Black Rocks and the Vanguards, the State Streets, they're controlling Donald Trump. And we know ultimately it's the Most High who's controlling all of this to bring forth his word, his prophecy, and to take his inheritance back from the people that stole his inheritance and the people that robbed and spoiled his people and kept us in captivity and did us so wrong in captivity. So all praise to the Most High. It's 12:21. Before it hits 12:30, I'm going to have everybody go. Last verse I'll read, Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, and let them come up. All praise to the Most High. Shalom. I hope you are edified. Glory be, glory be, and honor be, and praise be to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, the water for sticking with us through the lesson. I hope you are edified, and if you have any questions, any precepts or comments, you can bring them out. If not, we'll go ahead and close out in prayer in the next couple of minutes.
Great information, King.
All praises, Elder. That's what it was your lesson, man. You started that lesson with the money lesson and teaching us about where all what true wealth is to these Edomites and showcasing that these Edomites, they got money that we couldn't even begin to count for years upon years upon years. It would take just to count a portion of the fortune that they've amassed on the backs of our people. So, we sometimes gotta go and we'll jump in. It'll be a part 3 to wisdom, but that's part of understanding that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding where the money comes from, having the wisdom to see that it's not just Joe Biden or Donald Trump saying, "Oh, we're going to send this much money to Ukraine or and stuff like that." It actually goes a lot deeper than that. And all praise to the Most High for our elders giving us the meat, the meat off the bone, so that we can continue to learn and continue to grow. So it's only from having you all as mighty elders and teaching us and leading us. So all praise to the Most High. All right, so we're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Paleo Hebrew. Everybody face the east, and we'll do Lord's Prayer in English. Matthew chapter 6 and verse 9. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thank you for giving us this day our daily bread. We ask that you forgive us of our sins, as we also forgive others who trespass against us. Lead us and guide us not into temptation, and deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the power, the kingdom, and the glory forever and ever. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwavka, Taba'ar, Atazaka, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashemayim, Nathalanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawaf Yanawa, Kasalak Yanawa, Kabawaf Yanawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Banasanayam, Abal, Hawashanawa, Man, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Waha'ala, Wahata Paraf, Lawa Yum Yum, Aman. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 4, the Shema of Israel. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your body, your soul, and your spirit. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah Hainawa, Yahweh. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah Hainawa, Yahweh. Shema Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah, Hayanawa, Yahweh, Ahad. All praises to the Most High, the Wadi Yahweh, the Wadi Yahweh Shai. We ask you, Lord, to continue to fill us with your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding. Help us to love each other and to treat each other, Lord, as you command us to be treated. By each other with love, with mercy, with grace, Heavenly Father. We ask you to continue to lead us and to guide us back to you through faith in Yahweh Shai, keeping your commandments, and loving you by feeding your sheep. In Yahweh Shai name we pray. Hallelujah, 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 and amen. Shalom. All praises to the Most High, fam. Thanks for got made it till 12:30, but all praises to the Most High. Hopefully you were edified and you were able to learn at least one thing.
All praises.
God. And Tawada Elder for your participation, helping out. I appreciate that. And Tawada to our mighty brother Yazayan. That was mighty reading on the set. All praises to the Most High. And Tawada for everybody who was here with us tonight on the YouTube as well as on the Zoom class. So all praises to the Most High. For my brothers and my mighty elders.
Shalom.
God. All right, shalom, everybody. Have a beautiful and a blessed happy new moon tomorrow. Shah Kadash Shirak. And if there's anybody that is able to, I know we're fellowshipping in New York. Let's keep our sister Kana in prayer. Her and her family, her and her son. And keep all your brothers and sisters in prayer throughout the nation and throughout your congregation. And definitely let's continue to do this work. And all praises to the Most High. Shalom, family.